The Browns, they're putrid. They're the worst team in the NFL.
The season, the 2024 season is over.
Lamar Jackson can't win the playoffs. He'll win a third MVP, though, so that's great.
Drew Sample is the most important piece of the Bengals offense next year.
Go Joe Burrow. He deserves to be MVP. I wish he was the Browns quarterback. Kind of mean that.
If you're looking for the most reactionary, silly, and unserious show on the internet, then you're home. Live from Hamilton, Ohio, it's Off the Bench by Chatterbox Sports on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, let's do this. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Good morning. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Off and rolling here. Let's get it going. Jimmy, good morning. Back to the Lions hat. I'm sorry. Back to the Lions hat it is. I like it.
Good morning. Yep, Lions are back today. I don't think any of the starters are going to be playing. Maybe the rookies, but preseason football back today. I'm excited.
That way they play today.
They play today. Yeah, they play the Giants.
No, there's preseason games tonight. But that's not. Huh. Did not know that. Did not pay attention.
Well,
yeah, two of them.
I was tweeting.
Yeah.
Well, very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's right. Second to last show before you head back to school.
Second
You excited?
To last show, yeah. I'm sad a little bit, but I don't want to go back and do school, so that's definitely part of it.
Jimmy is opening the show tomorrow here at the desk.
That's right.
That's big time.
Jimmy Monologue is what they call you on the streets, right?
I started thinking about what I was going to talk about last night, and it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress,
Yeah,
and that's fine. No pressure.
No pressure.
None. You will do better than me. I'm just beating people to the punch in the chat. I'm not even going to read the chat. Am I fired yet? Have I been requested to be fired already?
Nope, not yet.
Am I a clown yet?
Wow, I'm
am I a clown with the K yet?
Very early on, but not yet.
Give him time?
Still a lot of time.
I don't
for
think
you to-
Everett's here yet. So.
Everett's getting his morning coffee. Him and
there you
I,
go.
we were out late last night hanging out, just joshing around, being friends and stuff. Have a couple beers. He's a good guy.
Oh, so you're hungover again?
Oh, always. You know me. Always
Yeah.
hungover.
By the way, every intern we've ever had has sat at the desk. They've hosted one show, every intern. Jacob did it when he was an intern. Lindsay did it, and now Jimmy's going to do it.
We'll see.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited. I need to tie up some loose ends with what I'm going to talk about.
I have some advice for you. Don't just be nice to the Bengals. Okay?
Oh, of course.
Just be, don't be a Browns fan.
I'll be nice
if you
to the
do
Reds,
those two
too.
things, you will be golden.
I'm not going to talk about the Reds-Tigers series, I promise.
You talking about the Reds Tiger series is minus 100,000.
Yeah.
That's I'll be bummed if you don't, to be honest with you, as far as that goes. Casey, good morning. I am glad that the other two guys did not just lay into you the way that Jacob and I did the second you walked in. I mean, it was rude. We didn't even say good morning, but I'm going to say good morning now. Good morning. Welcome in.
Yeah, good morning. For those of you that didn't understand that, I'm wearing
Head to toe
salmon
matching
red.
shirt.
And I wasn't trying to do this. I just at one point I looked at myself as I'm walking out the door and I'm like, I just don't care anymore. But I should have. I don't know if you see this, but it's just you cannot match anymore. I just look like a.
You look like a big red machine.
Why do they have Salmon Reds merch?
That's a phenomenal question.
That's puzzling me too. I
might
just
be more of a
grabbed what I thought
heather
was
red.
red. and-
Yeah, that might. Yeah, I don't know. That seems strange. But nonetheless, you look good, Case.
It's a complete contrast from wearing all black.
Well, and so when he walked in today, I'm like, damn, look at you. I was like, earlier in the week, it was all black, and now you like the all color tone. That's great. But then Jacob.
It's Color Rush Thursday.
I know you'll be surprised, Elliot, but Jacob did not hold his
Yes.
opinion back. And just
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was very rude. Very rude.
I'm shocked.
I don't know if I was rude. I just pointed out that a friend of ours was wearing head-to-toe salmon, which I feel like is my job as a human with eyes.
But it's that chuckle. It's that very offensive chuckle that you put behind everything. That's like, oh yeah, that chuckle is telling you what exactly you're feeling. But I felt bad. But I don't feel bad anymore because it looks great, Casey. It looks great.
Well, what Jacob just said it. It's Color Rush Thursday.
That's right. If the pros can do it, so can you.
I like that. Elliot, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Do you know what? I said it when I got here, but the amount of traffic I deal with coming into this beautiful city is absurd. Today, for those of you who are wondering, who are trying to get through Ross to Hamilton, they're repaving the entire stretch of road there. Miles of road they're repaving. So I said, you know what, we're going to go the detour route. We're going to keep driving on the highway. We'll get off on, I think it's called New London Road, and then we'll go up from there. What are they going to do right by Potter's? Paving the roads. So I was stuck no matter which way I was getting into work today. Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
But you are alive.
Sure.
You made it.
Sure.
And we're all here Having a great time.
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah.
Was it the great time part, or was it the?
Well, I don't know. It was just like it's just frustrating. Why don't you guys fix the roads? I feel like the roads.
It seems like they are fixing.
I
the
feel
roads.
I feel like they've
Actively.
Trying, but it's not patient.
They're
dude.
doing their best.
You can't fix the road every week. It's either you fix it or you don't fix it.
I think it might take a little time.
Well, yeah, those roads are closed 45 of the 52 weeks, so they're working on them, I guess.
I can't really. I mean, look, I yelled at the entire city of Kettering for blocking off my entrance to get into work, so I'm no different. So I can agree with you on
There
that.
you go.
There's nothing more frustrating.
Did you see the fire that happened yesterday?
I
right
saw
by work?
Reed's tweet. I was
Boy,
not sure
oh
what that was
boy.
alluring to. What was it? Just it wasn't a little bonfire.
It
was
was the largest fire I've ever seen.
One of them.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
It was
everyone
insane.
okay? I mean, what happened?
I
No
don't know
idea.
enough to speak on.
No, it was. I think it's abandoned. I don't want to misspeak, but I'm pretty sure it was abandoned.
I read that it's a paper factory.
was.
Former, yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks
Down.
like Dwight Schrute's fire safety test.
I was
didn't
gonna
work.
say. I was hoping someone was gonna grab that
Today,
rub with it.
smoking is gonna save lives.
That's right.
I love it. Real quick, I know we're going to talk some Reds coming up around the corner, but I saw this morning coming in. For one, preseason games tonight, cool. Did not know that. I knew they were coming up this weekend. Wasn't really paying attention to the schedule as far as that's concerned. But I was surprised. So the Bills coach, Sean McDermott, said that the first team will play about a quarter on Saturday against the Bears. The Bears said the same thing. So we're going to get like a legitimate matchup, and at least a first quarter matchup of all starters playing for both the Bears and the Bills. I don't recall this being. The Chiefs said the same thing the other night, that the Chiefs will play. The starters will play a full first quarter. I don't think the Bengals have announced what their intentions are. I know they said starters will get more playing time this year in preseason. I don't think they've come out with anything, but I feel like this is the most amount of teams I've seen, at least heading into the first preseason game. Usually you kind of go and tread lightly. I'm surprised at how many are just going and jumping in the deep end right off the bat. You like that? I like it. I'm more excited to watch these games now, especially if we're going to get to see some of these starters. Are you surprised that we're seeing so many of these teams jump in like this?
Yeah, no, it's a little bit surprising, but I think with the elimination of that fourth preseason game, I think teams are just flipping the schedule. You would see starters play a quarter, maybe sometimes even a half, in that last preseason game before the regular season started. I think teams are just flipping the schedule now. They're going to play their starters at the beginning and then wean off going into the game 2 and game 3, give them that full bye week before game 1, essentially giving them 2 or 3 bye weeks while still giving them some game reps in the first preseason game. I think having that bye week before the start of the season is just leading to the schedule to flip a little bit.
Yeah, the preseason stuff to me, it's the NFL preseason specifically. It's one of those things where I just write it off completely altogether. I know the starters will get what is it, the one drive, but outside of that, it's good that there's a break in between the season.
Well, no, it's usually the one drive, which is why I never care. But the full first quarter is what I'm saying. Like,
Well,
that's
the
what's
full first quarter is outrageous.
So that's what this is, though. That's what
Yeah.
they're saying. Like the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bears have all said all their starters will play the full first quarter. That's why it caught my. Usually, I don't really care about the opening drive. I've always said preseason games are pointless for that same reason, Elliot. But playing the entire full first quarter, that's what's wild to me. So if the Bengals come out and say Joe Burrow and the starters will all play the full first quarter of their preseason game this weekend, I mean, you say that's outrageous. If that's the case,
One of the it's almost a lose-lose for the head coach, really, because if something goes wrong, it's like, why are you playing guys in meaningless games? And then if you play an entire quarter, or if they don't play at all, it's why aren't they getting any reps? So it's almost like a lose-lose to me. And I don't think there's really a right decision. I just like getting the offensive line out there, getting them to work together. Outside of that, I really don't care about the preseason whatsoever. I like Joe Burrow to be healthy during the preseason, just so I can say he's ready to go. I like Jamar Chase to be ready for the I just want everybody to be healthy. But yeah, playing an entire quarter, risking injury in a game like that makes no sense.
Bengals playoff starters, you happy with that?
I wouldn't necessarily be mad about it. I'm in the camp that it doesn't matter one way or the other. I think if you're a good enough player, like, the Joe Burrows, Jamar Chases of the world, you don't need the preseason games. But I think for the O-line and that second tier or whatever, the groups that need to mesh together and play together, I think it's important to get some reps. I think a quarter is much more meaningful than a drive, obviously. So I'm for it. I think we'll probably see be pretty run heavy with quarterbacks like Mahomes and Caleb Williams and stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to drop them back and throw them 20 times in a quarter or something like that. So I think we'll see a modified offense at that. But yeah, I really have no problem with it. I'm excited to see my guys out there. At this point, I just want football.
I know it's a bad argument, but if somebody were to get hurt, and somebody being a star player,
Yeah.
do you get upset with Zach Taylor? Are you finger pointing Zach Taylor, saying why is he out here on a third drive in the preseason?
I know I would be, but I probably shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But I definitely would be.
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose for head
It's like
coaches.
finger pointing other people for Joe Burrow getting hurt.
So it would not be Burrow's fault if he got hurt.
Right.
He would
Well,
not be
it's
injury
been-
prone. This
it's
would be
been-
Zach Taylor's fault.
It's been Zach Taylor's fault. It's been such a bad management of the team to not play the preseason when you start slow, and now he's going to play in the preseason. If someone gets hurt, he's going to be the dumbest coach of all time for playing him in the preseason. So, I mean, he really can't win. I like changing it. Obviously, not playing in the preseason hasn't worked the last couple years.
Correct.
So play the guys. See
100%.
what happens.
100%.
I have no issue with it if everyone's healthy. You got to be 110%, no dings, no worries about any injury, then go in there and play.
Do you think they'll ever eliminate the preseason?
No.
They'll just get rid of it altogether?
If they add the 18th, or if they add the 18th game, it sounds like they'll eliminate another preseason game.
But it's also like tryouts for the
Correct. And that's the main
practice
part of
squad.
preseason.
Yeah.
It's the get the final roster spots.
They'll
the end of the
always
roster
have at
guys.
least 1 week because they'll never do it with a Hall of Fame game.
You're right.
So it could go all the way down to one preseason game, but that's as low as I think it could go.
That's fair.
And by the way, too, you think about the Bengals' slow starts the last couple of years. When Zach Taylor announced about a month ago or whenever it was, before we even were thinking about camp or preseason games, he announced that, yes, they were going to change it up a little bit, that they were going to play starters more, because that's been their philosophy the last couple of years during this run, was not playing starters during the preseason. And whether that had a direct correlation with the slow starts over the last couple of years or not, it is kind of a nice adjustment from the head coach to say, well, we're going to do things different. We can't keep doing the same things every year and expecting a different result. So let's maybe be a little bit more intense. Let's show a little bit more urgency, and let's play more guys during the preseason and see if that kind of helps give them a little bit of that edge as far as that's concerned. I know we're going to get into some camp updates coming up here in a bit later on in the show, but the Bengals seem to have that edge. We're talking about these splits, the practices with two teams. What the heck do they call that? Why am
Joint
I trying to play?
practices.
Joint practices. My gosh. Maybe it was a joint I had before the show. And I
Hey-o.
can't think clearly.
It's legal.
Yeah, it is. I'm not breaking the law. I'm not admitting anything that will get me in trouble. A distraced drug test, by the way. But that's besides the point. But no, we talked about these joint practices and all the fights that are happening at these and how dangerous they can be. We saw the intensity level pick up yesterday on social media from Bengals camp. I mean, you had Logan Wilson, you had Karras, you had some major players involved in some pushing and shoving, and you could see that intensity levels picked up in Cincinnati this season.
Yeah, personally, I absolutely love it. This seemed like yesterday was one of the most intense practices of the Zach Taylor tenure.
Yep.
Usually seems like a pretty relaxed facility, relaxed practices, especially this early in the preseason. And yesterday, the guys were really ready to go. So I loved it. I loved seeing it, especially from two guys I consider top shelf leaders of the team, and Logan Wilson and Ted Karras really getting into it. Little late hit by Ted Karras, but that's football. And then Logan retaliated, and that's great. I love seeing guys have a little fire. Ted said after practice that 2 seasons in a row going to the AFC Championship, and then last year missing the playoffs has really lit a fire under a lot of guys on the team, and then that's just something I love to hear as a fan. That's exactly what you hope they would want. You don't want a team like this just picking bright spots out of last season like fans have been doing. Oh, we went above 500 with Jake Browning at quarterback. That's great for fans to do. I'm very, very glad that the team is not doing that, and then they're realizing that last year was not where you want to be as the Cincinnati Bengals right now, and they're working to get back, and it seems like they really want to do so.
I think there is a line though. I like that they're passionate. I like that they're fired. I like that they're fired up. I like that they're ready to go. We probably shouldn't be late hitting receivers though. I mean Yoshi was late hit quite a bit yesterday, so I'm not going to get upset about it. It's just one of those things where we don't need guys getting hurt before the season starts for no reason at all.
I didn't think about this. When Joe Burrow obviously gets knocked out of camp and stuff the last couple of years and battling with injuries, it deflates the fan base, right? Like, you guys feel like, oh, damn. Like, how do you think the teammates feel when that happens? Because just like you guys know that he's the straw that stirs that drink, like the fans know that the players, his teammates know that as well. So it is one of those situations too where, yes, they're professionals. They have to show up to work every day and prepare for the upcoming season, but they also know, damn, Joe Burrow's not out there. We don't know what the status of him is going to be moving forward. When will we get rolling at a full clip? They haven't been able to have these full intense practices, this urgency that they've been able to approach camp with over the last couple of years. Having Burrow out there, that trickle-down effect does play a huge role in how this team approaches the preseason as well. I think, I've spent so much time thinking, Joe Burrow not being out there messes with the flow of the offense. I think it just flows. I think it messes with the intensity and the urgency of the team. With him out there, everyone feels like we're ready to go. Let's go. We're going to run through a brick wall. When he's not out there because of injury, I think it deflates the intensity of the team, and that's why they've been soft to start September the last couple of seasons. I think that's playing a huge role in why we're seeing the increased intensity from the Bengals. Casey, your thoughts? Yeah,
I don't disagree with that. I think having your leader, your franchise quarterback out there gets you a little bit more motivated, gets you going a little bit more. You just listen to the players and you see what they've done in training camp. T. Higgins yesterday had maybe one of his best camps ever yesterday, at least by all reports. Guys like Yoshi said it was one of the most fun practices he's had, and he's the one that's getting knocked around and people are getting all up in arms about. The intensity and the camaraderie there, it's all great to see, and I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership there and the guys in the locker room. Good thing Burrow's there. I'm very happy and pleased with the progress so far. This is the longest it feels like he's been in a training camp in a very long time. Maybe ever. Yeah. I don't quite remember the whole details of everything.
It might be because the first year was COVID.
No training camp.
The second year was the
ACL.
The ACL. The next year was the appendicitis, correct? And then last year he had already gone down with the calf. Yeah, that is wild. As dominant as he's been, this is the furthest into camp that the Bengals have ever had him, as far as that's concerned. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So very, very happy about where the team is at. In terms of the fighting and whatnot, I love it. I just think that they're ready to go hit somebody now. So, like you said, the intensity's there. I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership in the room. Joe Burrow's there.
I love when my guys crave contact.
Yeah.
Seems like Yoshi's out there. He's getting knocked around. You said it. There's plenty of clips out there of him getting late hit, and after practice he goes, that was so much fun. That's what I want out of my skill position guys. You get so many skill guys in the NFL now that are, running out of bounds before the corner hits them, or, shaving a yard or two off every route because they're just going down when they catch it instead of fighting for yards. I love when a guy battling for the wide receiver slot is talking about how much he loves contact, how much he loves getting knocked around. He's going to go out there and fight, and that's exactly what I want from my guys.
The human body craves contact.
That's right.
Were you not hugged enough as a child, Elliot?
No, I was not.
By the way, is it hot in here?
It is so hot in here, Kenner. I'm so glad you asked. This leather chair is up 5 rounds to nothing on my back right now.
Yeah.
This isn't a bit.
The sweat is preposterous.
I thought it was hot when I started the show.
Do you realize how quiet it is, too?
So it's quiet.
It's so quiet.
It's really quiet in here because the air conditioner has been shut off.
Oh, is that what that was earlier?
Yeah.
See, I haven't been here. I don't know what are normal sounds and are not normal sounds yet.
I'm disgustingly sweaty right now.
The temperature is only going to rise.
We're 18 minutes into the show. I'm sitting in a pool.
So we're not going to get our blood pressure raised. We're not going to get in any arguments. We're going to stay cool,
stay calm,
and collected.
Well, that might put him on edge. So there might.
Calm down, Jimmy. Jim, God dang it, Jimmy. Calm down. Relax.
Down, Jim.
Sorry, guys.
My gosh.
You're fired.
We'll be right back. More Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers next. Unsafe working conditions here in Hamilton, Ohio.
That's
Just
right.
throwing it out there here in the old Chatterbox studios. Welcome back Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Let's see. Cincy B says Kinner is always drunk, so he didn't notice when the air shut off.
It's helping you sweat it out.
I'm always sweating.
It's helping you sweat it out.
I'm sweating it out, guys. When did this become a thing that I'm always drunk?
I don't know, but I see it every day, so maybe you are.
They're like, these takes are so bad. There's no way a sober mind would say these things, right? Maybe that's it, as far as that's concerned. Not talking Browns, I promise, but it does. It's Browns. It starts with the little Browns, so just calm down.
Not talking Browns, but we're going to talk about the Browns.
No.
So
I know where he's going
He
with it.
assured us that this is not a Browns show. The first segment every day just is a little bit Browns.
No,
Yeah.
look. I
This
take
will be
things that are
Browns.
being talked about nationally and try to localize it a bit, and that's what I'm about to do here. So this other team in Ohio that I'm not allowed to talk about that yesterday I said was better than the team in Cincinnati, that we're not going to get into because we're staying cool, calm, and collected here on this very hot August day. No, so the big debate over in the city that has that team that I'm not allowed to talk about, those fans are pissed off. Because this awesome $2 billion rendering of a new dome stadium was released yesterday. And regardless of whether I like this team or not, I think it's freaking badass. I actually think that the rendering of it is awesome. And no, not because it's in the city for the team that I'm not allowed to talk about. If Cincinnati released this, I'd be saying how badass it is. Tennessee released theirs not too long ago. I think that looks cool as hell too. I'm a big fan of a lot of these. I think you look at Allegiant. I think you look at, even all the big ass stadiums that are over on the West Coast. I think those look amazing. I mean, these things are just absolutely awesome as far as every time a new stadium has been put up. They're more than just a stadium. Obviously, these things are meant to bring in concerts, events. It's built for more than just the actual football season. But the big talking point is, you're taking it out of downtown of the city of the team that I'm not allowed to talk about, and they're moving it a half hour away. And that has a lot of people talking. When I go to the city of the team that I'm not allowed to talk about, I'm just driving from Dayton. I just put in my GPS. I go right up to the stadium, watch the game. I don't really care where it's at. So I'm selfish when it comes to that, but I do know that all my friends that live in that particular area, it pisses them off that they are potentially moving not the team but the stadium, and they're rebuilding it about a half hour away. It's going to lose a little bit of that feel. So I got to thinking if the same thing, and again, there's been renovations that, a lot of renovations that have been made recently to Paycor Stadium, which is that signifies that, by investing so much into the stadium, that there's really no plans of a new stadium to be put up anytime soon. But if that time ever does come, and there is talks of a dome stadium, an outdoor stadium, whatever it is, but also relocating, what would the state of Cincinnati Bengals fans be? Because there's a lot of talk about the location of it, yes, but also the debate of indoor versus outdoor. I see a lot of pros and cons to both. For one, as far as an indoor facility is concerned, we like to talk big. We like to talk about the toughness of the AFC North, right? AFC North football, it's outside, it's cold, it's hard-hitting, it's physical. That's what AFC North football is. So the fact that you have a team on the lake in that city of the team I'm not allowed to talk about that wants to basically move inside because it's too cold out, I understand why people are going to poke fun and say that that's soft, this, that, and the other. But let's not act like that's not going to give any team that is indoors in the months of November, December, and January, February, well, at least November, December, January, much more of an advantage than having to try to fight not just your opponent, but battle the elements as well. There's a lot of pros and cons to this. There's a lot of reasons that people do love the indoor versus the outdoor and outdoor versus the indoor. I completely get that. But at the end of the day, and Jacob and I were talking about this, I feel like I'm in my 30s, he's in his 20s, a lot of you guys are all in your 20s in here. I feel like when we're all in our 50s and 60s, I'll be very surprised if we're still talking about new outdoor stadiums being put up anywhere. I think by the time we're in our 50s and 60s, every NFL stadium will be in a dome. As far as I'm concerned, that's my take, that's my opinion. I'm curious what you guys have to say on this, but I think the rendering looks freaking sweet. I know you guys won't compliment anything that is related to that team that I'm not allowed to talk about. However,
I'm sure Brook Park's a beautiful city. I've never said anything bad about Brook Park.
I've never been to Brook Park.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, the Brook Park. Are you a big,
certainly better than Cleveland?
Are you a bigger fan of the Brook Park Browns over the Cleveland Browns?
If I had to pick, I would go Brook Park.
But what if what if Cincinnati announced, okay, Hamilton, 40 minutes away, we're putting up a stadium. Cincinnati, we're putting up a stadium here. What would the reaction be?
That'd be heartbreaking. I'd absolutely hate it. I think every sports team should be as close to downtown of their city as they possibly can be. And I think if you have the ability to be there, like the Browns are right now, and they have a pretty good setup. First Energy is not a terrible field. Obviously, it needs renovations and stuff, but we've seen what the Bengals have been able to do with Paycor over the last couple of years. You can take current infrastructure and make it new. So I like where the Brown Stadium was at. I think it was a good place, and I am incredibly against domes. I hate domes in football. I understand that it's probably where the sport's going, and every new stadium is going to be a dome. You're absolutely right about that because of the ability to host events in the offseason. You can make it a year-round building if you're a dome, and you lose the prime winter months if you're an outdoor stadium for concerts and everything else like that. But to me, outdoor stadiums is football. For baseball, build every stadium a dome. I get it. You cancel it if it rains. Why are you not in a dome anyway? Football, you play in the elements. That's part of the game. And I understand that, I think it's Troy Aikman that has the take that everyone needs to be in a dome because it's peak athletes, and don't you want to see peak athletes at their peak, and they're only at their peak if they're not battling the elements as well. But I feel like the best athletes are the ones that can get around the elements and still perform. And I think that's what makes football great is you have games like 2 years ago where the Bengals go to Buffalo and it's snowing and you get all those amazing pictures of the snow angels after an interception and all that different stuff. I think that's what makes football so much fun is you have a sport that deals with the elements very, very differently than almost any other sport out there.
I would agree with Jacob 100%. If you're gonna make one league all domes, it should be the sport that can cancel games because of the rain, and that's baseball. So go put every baseball stadium in a dome. I think that's way better. NFL, I disagree that in 60 years they'll all be inside. I think there is something to seeing a game played in the snow. There's something to seeing a windy Chicago game where a kicker will have to aim 50 yards right for it to get anywhere near the goalpost. So yeah, I think it's I get what you're saying. But at the same time, I cheer for the course when I watch golf. I cheer for the elements as much as I cheer for the people on the field, the players on the field. So, yeah, I prefer everything be outside. As far as the Browns thing, I'm not too familiar with the Browns Stadium. I've never been there. I don't know you said how far is Brook Park away?
It's about 30 minutes.
30 minutes away. So, yeah, if the Bengals move their stadium 30 minutes away, I'd be furious. I think it's a good location. I don't think they can change it, really. I don't think they could move it anywhere near downtown, I don't think, except for maybe FC Cincinnati land.
Maybe. I have no idea.
If you cleared out some of those houses. But, yeah, I think the Bengals Stadium's here to stay. I think most of the outdoor, like Lambeau, could you imagine Lambeau indoors? It takes away Lambeau Field. That's not Lambeau Field.
Have you ever been to Lambeau?
No.
I called for basketball. I was there one year.
bad.
Did a tour of
I wanna
Lambeau.
go.
What's that?
I just said I want to go to Lambeau so bad.
So like they're the only stadium in the NFL that has actual bleacher seating. Yeah. And they said the reason that every time it comes up about renovating this to take out the bleacher seating, if they took out the bleacher seating, they would lose 2,000 seats. They would lose 2,000 season ticket holders. They would lose so much money. So it's the only stadium you go to in the NFL that has actual bleacher seats. It's such a wild stadium when you go and get the tour of it and everything. It's really cool. But no, the reason I said that I think that that's going to be how it is when we're in our 50s and 60s is because all the billionaires that are buying these teams now, they're not building this stadium for football only. They're building it because it's a bit like the Haslams are doing this as a business venture more than just a football decision because they want Final Fours to come to Cleveland. They want, you guys aren't wrestling fans, but the WrestleManias and the SummerSlams and those, big time, economic growth events to come, college football playoffs, like that's going to be wild. Look, Minnesota put up a dome, they get a Super Bowl, right? Like, that's Indianapolis. When they got theirs, they got a Super Bowl. That just seems to be the trend too, is like when you put these things up, yes, it's not just for your team that you're putting them up. It's for all the other events that come in and just the millions of dollars of economic growth in the area. Casey?
Yeah, and it's not even just a team decision either. It's a city decision. Like they have to be the ones to say, yeah, we're willing to help put money up front or put new taxes in for the city to be able to fund this sort of project. And that's been a huge discussion before the Bengals really were as good as they were today, that we were worried that they might not even be in Cincinnati here in a couple years. And I think the contract is up in like 2029 or something like that, or 2027 or something like that. I can't quite remember when it's up. But, yeah, the Bengals, they were in a really odd situation here a couple years ago, and we were wondering if they would even be in Cincinnati. I just couldn't imagine my team. It's like them moving to Mason almost. Like, it's just wild to me that they're moving that they're moving the Browns Stadium that far away. I think it takes away a lot of the almost the not just like the economic value, but the pageantry of it. Like the traditions of people going to the stadium would be completely different. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like them moving their stadium that far away.
Yeah, so I think I kind of sit on the other side of this, and I think a lot of it just has to do with
your team plays indoors too. Yeah,
the stadiums that I've been going to. I think I'm a big proponent of playing baseball outside just because I love like going to the ballpark on like a sunny day and all that and being kind of outside. It's like the one outdoor sporting event that like the weather is usually really good outside of maybe it rains every couple weeks and you have a game postponed. I just think like the atmosphere outside of the baseball game is so much better than playing at like American Family Field now, and like those indoor stadiums. I just think it's not the same, and I think baseball is always meant to be outside. But my team, like the Lions, play indoors, and they have played indoors forever. And I think the more north you go up, I think there's a legit probably a need for teams to play indoors, like Minnesota. I think Green Bay is really stretching it now. I think Buffalo, Buffalo's getting rid of it. They broke ground on their new indoor stadium.
No, it's not indoor. It's outdoor.
Buffalo's outdoor.
It is.
That's the one that he got me with before. I'm like, I forgot about that. That's like the only recent outdoor stadium, or not. It's not even renovation. It's a brand new outdoor stadium that they're putting up. Not domed, right? It is outdoor, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, outdoor.
Yeah, I understand.
MetLife's still outdoor, right?
Yeah, that's on its way out, I think.
Really?
MetLife?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, MetLife is also a dump. So.
Right, that's why I think it's on its way out.
I think the interesting, like you guys are talking about how like moving outside of the city, it's weird because like a lot of the teams that like I'm a fan of were outside of the city for a while, outside of the Tigers and the Red Wings, who have pretty much always been downtown. And it like it feels weird like saying like, oh, I'm going to go watch the Detroit Pistons game, but they're 45 minutes outside of the city at the Palace of Auburn Hills. But it's also like, I don't know, it's kind of fun for like the people who live closer to that area to be like the Pistons are home to our area. Whereas like they're still Detroit, so I don't necessarily have a problem with like the Browns moving a little bit outside of the city. I know the Bears have talked about it seemingly for like 3 years now. I don't know if that'll ever happen, moving to what's that?
Arlington Heights.
Arlington Heights, yeah. I don't know. I think it's it's interesting. I like indoor stadiums in the NFL, and I would not like them in baseball. And I think staying in the city when you've always been in the city seems super important. But I think just from my point of view, like having teams who haven't always been in the city, like when the Pistons moved to downtown, I kind of liked it a little bit more when it was just their own building and their own home, rather than moving downtown just to move downtown. Yeah. So it's interesting.
So the other argument you get is football is played outside. I know you had talked about this, but at some point, old school football pride, it's great to talk about, but your team, the Cincinnati Bengals, the weather sucks here, and they're going to be regularly playing deep into January, February. What happens when, like, look at that Chiefs game from last year? That was brutal. By the way, I thought the NFL sucked for that, like the way that they handled that, telling fans, hey, go dig your own seats out, and that was the Bills' decision. I thought that was all messed up. You see the chaos that, from the Kansas City game when that happened, when fans, Kansas City's stadium's out in the middle of nowhere. And, like, they had fans who were waiting on Ubers and were stranded, basically, and it was, like, -20 outside. It was absolutely insane. They had people who were frostbit. I mean, it was, like, such a dangerous situation. But, hey, they got that game in, right? Like, the thing is those elements that we talk about that we could sit there and say, well, our team's tough because we play in it, it also can cost your team games that you work so hard for 17, now 18 potential regular season games. You work your ass off. You build an offense around Joe Burrow and his ability to pass the football just to get to the elements just totally taking you out of your game. I know that's football, but like I feel like it's going to take something like that to maybe change the tunes. Maybe not of you, but of some. I would be pissed if my team is built a certain way and it all comes down to I can't believe the NFL is making them play in this weather. That's why I'm for the indoor stuff because especially at the biggest time of the season, football pride be damned. It makes us sound tough here in August and even during the summer and even in the warmer months. But come that freezing temperature, come that snowfall, everything that could potentially hit Cincinnati during the most important stretch of the playoff games throughout the year, football pride be damned as far as I'm concerned. But
or the exact opposite. We saw last year, I'm not saying the Dolphins would have won if it was 70 degrees, but the Dolphins go into Kansas City and look like a completely different team than they've looked like all season because the elements are terrible. And obviously the Chiefs had been built up to play in such elements, and they dominated the game. So I think it's knowing what you are, and if you're a dome team, you certainly build your team a different way than if you're an outdoor team. And I think being an outdoor team in a league that's transitioning to domes is going to be very beneficial when those games are played outside.
Yep.
It's a lot easier to go out to in than in to out.
Yeah, I think it was the next day the Lions played the Rams in that first wild card game, and it was very cold in Detroit too. It was negative. It feels like I think negative like 8 or 9 outside, and I was very, very thankful that I didn't have to go to a game like those Chiefs fans did in negatives and dig my seat out from the snow. And it's just like I don't know. I think it's like you said. I think it gets to a point where it's like, all right, what are we doing here? And this is like kind of ridiculous that we're trying to force this game in. And I don't really hold it against like the Dolphins are. They're in Miami. I don't really think it's like shame them for not being able to play in the cold. I mean, it's fact. They play worse in the cold because they're so used to training in the heat and practicing in the heat and playing at home in the heat. But I don't know. I just think it gets to a point where the outside becomes a little much. And I think more and more teams will start to transition towards it.
We saw that last year probably more than any. Because it wasn't just like one example. There were multiple teams that were hit by that huge winter storm that made its way across the country. But yeah, I don't think anyone's right or wrong in this. It's all about preference. But nonetheless, that dome looked pretty dang cool. And I'd be saying that about anyone who would have got that draw up, that rendering. That thing is pretty sweet. Allegiant, have you guys, any of you been to SoFi or Allegiant?
Been to SoFi.
Like, I've just heard, well, with the team or just like to go to a game?
I went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. But like that. Those stadiums are freaking insane.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
So it's like that's what's wild. That's why I'm torn. It's like I agree with what you're saying, but then I'm like I'm so in the middle on this.
Yeah,
I'll be happy no matter what.
I like football stadiums that look like football stadiums as well. Allegiant and SoFi look like Roombas.
That's true. Yeah.
Roombas.
What about Jerry's
got a
World?
Roomba recently.
Look up a picture of Allegiant Stadium and tell me that's not a Roomba.
No, I get it.
It totally does. What do you think about Jerry's World?
Now Jerry's World's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Jerry's World's crazy.
But, all right, Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. Justin, Jimmy, Casey, Elliot, and Jacob with you here on a Thursday. We'll have Elliot's headlines coming up around the corner. We'll also talk a little Cincinnati Reds. Plus, we'll get a Bengals camp update from Jacob. We have plenty more coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
You got a 10-second ban.
That's good.
Oh, my bad. We were talking about people being banned. I didn't
Oh.
know what was happening. My bad. Welcome back. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. We got some Red stuff coming up around the corner. I know that I don't want to get too much into the Jim Harbaugh Michigan stuff. We've been putting that off all week. At some point, we'd get back to it. But there's an interesting scenario from back in 2011 that involves suspending a coach for something he did wrong in college in the NFL. And there was a player in the NFL that got suspended for something he did wrong in college. And could we see the same thing happen with Harbaugh, with the Chargers? We'll discuss that coming up around the corner. But before we get to all of that coming up, let's, of course, send it over to Elliot. We got Elliot's headlines.
Whoa!
Elliot loves three things: Joey Votto, David Bell, and leading off the bench with top headlines.
It's true. I do love those three things. Headlines yesterday.
What's a fourth thing you love before we get into it?
The fourth thing that I love, the city of Hamilton.
Look at that.
The city of Hamilton.
Look at that.
Air conditioning.
And air conditioning, as we still don't have any air conditioning.
I miss it.
Or, again, the sound is really what's bothering me.
I don't even care about being hot.
Yeah,
I can hear myself think.
It's terrible.
I hate
it's
that.
truly terrible. By the way, the TVs are throwing me off again. It's
Me
different
as well.
colors.
And it's not the active shot.
See, that's interesting.
You guys are spoiled. The TVs, the air, the noise. I mean, my God.
I like to sweat and know what's live.
We just need to turn off the lights and get back into the rhythm. Headlines: The Reds lose to the Marlins 6-4 last night. Derek Hill's first inning grand slam was the difference. The Marlins jumped out to a 5-0 lead in that first inning, and the Reds had a hard time managing that. TJ Fridl hit a grand slam, which helped the Reds out, but it was not enough. The Reds would strand the bases loaded in the ninth inning to lose the game. Andrew Abbott, he settled in after a horrible first inning, but his struggles do continue. 5 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs. In 2 starts versus Miami this season, 8 1/3, 13 hits, 11 earned runs. Yikes. Tyler Stephenson stays hot, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles. He now has 7 hits in his last 4 games started. The Reds and Marlins are back at it tonight, 6-10. Hunter Greene, who is rolling in with a 2.83 ERA, is squaring off with Kyle Tyler. In minimal work, he has a 5.27 ERA and is 0-2 on the year. Around the league, the Phillies, they come back to obliterate the Dodgers 9-4. Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs. Yikes. Tigers beat the Mariners 6-2. Skubal, 13-4 on the year. He added 9 more strikeouts last night. He's got a 2.5 ERA. Pretty spectacular over there for Cy Young Award winner.
He's pretty awesome.
By the way, can Hunter Greene pass Skubal this year in ERA?
Can he? I mean, with the way he's
Pretty
pitching
close.
now, he definitely could.
Pretty close.
I don't think ERA tells the whole story, though. I was watching Skubal
No, it's the
last
win-loss record.
That's right. Everyone knows pitcher
yeah.
win-loss is the best
I don't
stat
know.
in baseball.
I was watching Skubal last night. He threw one bad pitch, and it ended up being a 2-run homer. But it was a phenomenal outing.
Good for them.
As always.
I saw Meadows. Did he make a good catch out there?
Meadows, yeah. Meadows. Tigers were up 3-2 in the 8th with 2 down. Cal Raleigh hit a deep fly ball to center. It looked like a pretty for sure home run, and Parker Meadows brought it back.
There we go. Francisco Lindor delivered the go-ahead hit in the 9th as the Mets beat the Rockies 5-3. Bobby Witt hit 2 home runs yesterday in the Royals' rout of the Red Sox. Cardinals get a game back against Tampa Bay. The Angels crushed the Yankees in Game 2. Yankees would take Game 1 in their doubleheader. Brewers, they win again against the Braves. They mustered up 16 hits in their 8-5 victory. Braves not looking great. But to be fair to the Atlanta Braves, they have dealt with brutal blows to that roster. I don't know if there's going to be a way to save them at this point. When you lose Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider, it's going to be difficult coming back. So
What's the stat? Like, how many of those guys are out for a long period of time more?
All.
Acuna's done.
Acuna's
done.
Strider's done?
Strider's done. Michael Harris has been out for a while. He's going to come back, and I think Ozzie could come back in
for the
late
playoffs.
September.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like if there was a team to ever complain about injuries, it's not the Reds, it's that team.
Oh, the Braves, certainly, yeah.
That team has just been
mangled.
decimated.
Reynaldo Lopez is on the 15-day now.
Orioles handle the Blue Jays 7-3. Santander hit 2 home runs. Padres hang on to beat the Pirates in 10 innings. Jackson Merrill hit 2 home runs. I feel like there was more multi-home run games yesterday than I've ever seen in my entire life.
There were a lot. Yeah.
White Sox, they look to start a brand new losing streak as they fall to the Athletics 3-2. They did announce they are firing their manager, Pedro Grifol. Is Grifol?
Grifol.
Grifol?
Something like that.
He finishes his tenure as manager of the White Sox with an 89 and 190 record. Yikes.
Not good.
Astros win 6-4 as Yordan Alvarez's home run was the hardest hit home run of the season, 117 off the bat. And the Cubs crushed the Twins. Happ and Bush each hit home runs. I did mention on here, did we even talk about the Bengals whiteout game? They did announce. Am I not allowed to say that, or am I not doing that?
No.
Yeah, they announced
We
it.
talked about it at the start.
Okay, we did talk about this. The air conditioning's really throwing me off today. I'm not going to lie.
To be fair, I don't think we announced it on the show yet.
Oh, did we not?
I don't think we did. I don't
But
think we
no,
Well, go
but
ahead and do
cue
it
it
now.
up. You're good.
So the Bengals did announce their whiteout game this season. It will be against the Eagles, which I don't feel like a lot of people saw coming.
Yeah, I thought the Ring of Honor game was the one I had circled. I thought they were going to do it that night, but I guess it makes sense to do the normal jerseys for the Hall of Fame night. I think that
Eagles is a day game though, no?
425.
425?
Yeah, 425.
You wanted the Eagles to do the all black jerseys.
I hope the Eagles wear their black alternates.
I saw on
because
Twitter-
I think that would be the greatest uniform matchup ever.
People want them to do the old school Eagle, like
The Kelly
throwback.
green?
Yeah, like
That'd be cool,
Either
too.
way, there's a lot of cool color combos you could do with this matchup.
Yeah. I hope we get a second one. They only announced one. I hope we get a second one.
I think we'll get a second one. Now, usually that happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Last year the second one was on the road, but either way, I hope we get a second one.
Yeah. That's it. Headlines.
That was LA's headlines, everybody.
There was no. I tried to look up Olympic things. Don't see anything from the Olympics.
So-
USA plays at 3. Hoops.
USA plays at 3.
Against your boys.
They'll win by Serbia.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll win by 40.
They're playing Jokic, and guess what?
What?
Embiid's hurt.
Ah,
Of
Classic.
course.
Classic.
What's the altitude there?
I don't know, but he's worried about it.
Am I hate saying this. The Olympics. I don't know if it makes me an American. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Really?
It
I'm a
just
Winter
doesn't.
Olympics guy.
What's that?
I'm a Winter Olympics
Winter
guy.
Olympic.
I like
Like
Winter
Me too.
Olympics.
I'm a Winter Olympics guy.
there's so many people. Oh my gosh, can the Olympics never end? And I'm like, maybe there's something wrong with this. I go sit down. I turn on the Olympics. I can't do it.
Well, I'm
Can't get
certainly
into
not
it.
in the never-end camp. I think once every 4 years watching
Yeah.
6 hours of track is the perfect amount.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly how much track I want in my life.
You know,
That's fair.
You know what I think about the Olympic basketball? I don't care like whatsoever.
Oh, I adore it.
I think if USA doesn't win the gold medal, I'll just laugh at them. Like,
That would be horrendous.
yeah. Well, yeah. They have to, like, they should win the gold medal. Their roster is filled with NBA stars.
That's
The
why.
best-
That's why it's entertaining.
But why do I care? They're playing against Jokic and his friends from Serbia.
Right.
But they have to win. Like there's no.
And
reason.
if they don't,
So
it's
why
the
is it
biggest
entertaining?
embarrassment for the country ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's not entertaining because I feel like I kind of just know they're gonna win and they're massive favorites. So
Oh yeah, they're 30-point favorites in every game.
Yeah.
I agree with Jimmy. I don't care at all about the NBA. Now, granted, if there's a TV and it's on, I'm going to watch it. But at the same time, I probably will not be tuning in to NBA versus NBA, which is pretty much the NBA.
Yeah,
versus Serbia. It's the NBA versus Serbia. So we'll see who wins.
yeah, I'll
Take the USA minus 100.
Yeah, I maybe I just don't take pride in the USA basketball filled with LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, and all those guys going up against Jokic.
I mean, how is that any different than Simone Biles on the floor, who's minus 1,200 to win?
Because you're sending
Like,
the
how is that
best
any
gymnast
different? Or
out
Michael
there.
Phelps was minus 1,500 to win swimming. How's that any different?
It's not for me.
That's why I don't watch it.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch it.
I guess,
It's
yeah.
one of the rare times where he's giving a take, and I like it.
I guess.
I like
that.
watching the
I
sports
like
where
it
you don't
because-
know, like ping pong.
But-
Give me the ping pong games. That's what I'll watch.
Like the shooting one, that was awesome.
Yeah, when that guy from Turkey.
Yeah.
I don't like events the U.S. doesn't compete in.
Oh,
So
If we're not going to do well, I don't like those events.
That's
I
true.
kind of know what he's like with the NBA, like taking all the NBA's best players. I don't know. It's like I just don't look at it as I'm watching the Olympics. I don't know what it is. Like it is just very strange.
It's
I
like
guess.
it's like me celebrating Notre Dame beating Toledo like super hard. It's like-
Yeah, if Toledo was a collection of the best players from the rest of the world.
Okay, I guess. But
Screw you, dude.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's just not the same as that at all.
It's the worst take I've ever heard, Jim.
I don't know.
Jimmy,
I just like
where's Jimmy Bad Take.
Diminishing a gold medal because we're better at the sport is insane.
yeah, I guess. But that,
No,
that's
Jimmy,
why,
no,
But that's
don't
why
back down.
That's why the hockey is so great because we're not the best at hockey. But if we win the gold medal, it's like, oh yeah, now we.
So you
are.
like that underdog story? Like,
like
you,
the underdog
you're
story.
not. You don't buy into the like. You're bored with the expecting to win.
Yeah, like I expect them to win, so I don't necessarily take pride in them beating Jokic and
Like
friends.
with soccer and stuff like that. Okay.
And to be
That's
fair, Canada basically had an All NBA team as well, and they got bounced.
All
so.
NBA second team. You know.
Yeah.
All NBA.
We have the
yeah.
all-
The guy that finished second
Yeah.
in the MVP to a guy that we're playing tonight. So
I hope he
Bang.
keeps that facial hair. I hope he keeps the facial hair. He just looks more intense.
who?
Jokic.
Oh,
I will say good job when Team USA wins the gold medal, and if they don't, I'll say you guys stink. But I don't
Stink.
know.
All right. We'll step away for a few moments. How about this? Talk a little Reds when we come back.
That sounds great.
You remember
that's always so much fun.
I love talking about the Reds.
You remember the guy that ran onto the field and the
Yeah.
streaker? Well, a ruling has been made.
Ooh,
An official ruling
have
has been
updates?
made. Yeah, an update. That's what we'll talk about next. More off
That's
the
a
bench.
tease.
Yeah. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back off the bench. Presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. So William Hendon, I don't know if it's right to pronounce his name, but I just did. He's 19. He's an adult. He apologized for the June 11th stunt, the streaker at the Reds game, during a hearing Thursday morning here in the beautiful city of Hamilton. All right, at the Hamilton County Municipal Court, by the way. So he apologizes, charges dropped.
Shocked.
Nothing happens. So
beautiful.
So he's not banned.
So he's
Or
not
is he-
banned.
Or is he banned?
No ban, I guess.
Cool.
Nice.
Good for the boy.
Now he does have family members in the judicial system. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Sco Bombers, baby.
Pretty sure. What is his dad? His dad is in law, and his grandma's in law. I think his whole family's in law.
That's right. It's not about what you know; it's about who you know.
So he completed a diversion program that required him to complete community service. He also apologized. He did say sorry.
Shouldn't have
He
done
didn't
that.
pull a hardball. He actually apologized. Yeah, so in addition to dropping the misdemeanor charges of criminal trespass and obstructing official business, the judge also expunged them from Hendon's record. He is a clean man. He has
Let's go.
a clean
So
slate.
he gets a sick photo.
Maybe Chad Hanks was right. It is a white boy summer.
Maybe it is.
I will say that night was one of the best nights of
That was
my summer.
unbelievable.
That was an unbelievable night.
I mean, Johnny Bench signing the picture of him being tased as well. It's such a great
Yeah.
tweet as far as that's concerned. But then you have people who are, oh, great, this is just going to invite others to do this. And if this is all that's going to happen, I mean, I highly doubt if someone does it again that they're going to get as friendly of a punishment. But nonetheless, who cares? I mean, it didn't hurt anything. I mean, I ain't going to do it. I mean, is anyone losing sleep over these types of things? I'm not.
No, I just remember the one kid who did it and got away with it, posted it to Twitter, and then he got in trouble, and I'm pretty sure he got banned. It's just one of those things. It's as long as there's no harm done to the players, you're not touching the players. You're just going out there and having a good little time. It happens once every blue moon. I don't really care. Go streak.
I think that was the one game all season where the next day no one had any complaints about the loss.
No.
No, yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah, because I'm seeing. So Mouse Cop says typical St. X kid, no accountability. So some people aren't happy with it as far as that's concerned, but is what it is. All right, Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. Cincinnati Reds, they lose Game 3 last night, but they do not lose any ground in the wild card standings. So everyone rejoice.
Woo!
5
Do I
games.
still have to sit here and act like we're gonna make a wild card?
You can.
Are we still doing that?
You can do that bit.
Are we doing that?
I'm not.
What's
Okay,
the bit?
good. So I'm
What's
out.
your guys'
Well, I
bit?
thought I didn't know if we were gonna
You
be
should.
like, yeah, we're gonna make the wild card. I didn't know if we were gonna do that whole shtick.
5.5 back. They lost last night. They didn't drop. That's pretty cool.
The thing about being 5.5 back, though, not dropping doesn't get you in the playoffs.
Correct.
And this team seems to do a lot of not falling in the standings and not a whole lot of climbing.
Or not rising. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't rise.
I try to watch the games with like a open mind. I try. And last night, obviously, we were down 5-0 to the Marlins in the first.
6-0.
Turn that
in the
puppy
first.
off.
In the first, yeah.
Don't watch it. I mean, I just don't. I mean, what do you want me to say? I watched that game. I watched when I was at a bar. It was trivia night, so I was.
Jesus Christ, you drink a lot.
I don't drink.
My
at all.
God, what is your problem, dude? How have we not crossed paths at these bars, man? I'm always at a bar.
I go to watch sports. What do you want me to say? I'm a sports fan. That's what I am. And so it was on the TV, but I wasn't paying attention to it. I was locked in on trivia. It stinks. It stinks to see where the Reds are. So I think they're going to win this series. I think they're going to win today. It's going to be a good series win. It's the Marlins, yay. But outside of that, I don't have any big takeaways. I'm happy with Tyler Stephenson. I'm very happy with the way Tyler Stephenson has performed, not only just the past week or so, but this season as a whole. I mentioned it on yesterday's show towards the end as like a little footnote, but he has been incredible this year. He's been an above-average catcher. He's been what we needed him to be, and I'm very happy to see that. But no really big takeaways from yesterday. TJ Fridl, good to see him get a home run.
First Grand Slam.
First Grand Slam.
First
That was
Grand
big.
Slam.
Andrew Abbott, a little concerning, as this seems to be the portion of his seasons where he falls down the toilet.
Basically the same time.
Yeah. So hopefully that's not the last three outings, 4 innings, 5 innings. So you're seeing those innings drop. You're seeing a less quality pitcher that we've seen earlier on. I'm hoping that's not going to be the case this year, because if so, that is a big story. That is a big story that Andrew Abbott cannot finish seasons as he starts them, the same way he starts them. So that's concerning to me.
Lodolo's looked a little dicey at times too, as of late. Went from feeling at the first couple months, you're like, man, this is a dominant rotation with Hunter Greene, Lodolo, and Abbott, and it has been. I'm not going to overreact yet, but you're right. There's a pattern starting to form. It was around this time last year where you started to see Andrew Abbott kind of dip off. And look, we were so excited about Graham Ashcraft so early on in his career too, but he had similar trends as well, where he would start to dip off in the back half of these seasons early on. So I'm hoping that's not what we're seeing here with Abbott, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, Abbott was great to start the season, just like he was last year. And then our friend Bryce Spalding tweeted this last night. He's made 7 career starts in the month of August, only 33 innings and a 7.27 ERA.
Yeah, it's not good, and it's why like
And he included hashtag don't look at December. And luckily I don't know how. So we're not going to look at December.
So the thing is, there were some fans calling to trade Andrew Abbott, and I was against it because Andrew Abbott's been so good this year, and he was so good last year up until the end. And I could argue last season's struggles was I don't know if he was expected to come up and make the impact that he did. He probably wasn't ready for a full season's workload, a full MLB season's workload of pitching. This season, he knew what he was expecting. He knew what he was going to do. And if he's still not going to be physically able to perform in the back half of seasons, that's when I get concerned, and that's when I look to maybe perhaps consider the idea of trading him eventually down the line.
Well, you hold him to a deadline because you know he's going to be good up until then.
Correct. That's true.
One thing, too, I don't know, me and you were talking about this before the show, Jacob, the Talkin' Baseball, the show that they had put out, they were talking about Ellie De La Cruz. I think it was yesterday's show that they had. And I forgot about this, too. You know, every year at the trade deadline, we always get all caught up, and not really just trade deadline, but just even in the off-season acquisitions for the Reds. I mean, it just seems like so long ago that Reds fans were pushing for Francisco Lindor. Remember the Francisco Lindor push when Reds fans? I didn't know you guys then. Where were you at with the Francisco Lindor push back in the day? Sorry, I'm asking you as my Jacob. Where were you with it? My apologies.
That was good.
You up
That
to
was good.
drown?
Right as I did that. The Francisco Lindor pushback.
I don't
know if I remember that.
remember that.
When fans wanted the Reds to go after Francisco Lindor, am I just making that
I
up?
don't remember that.
I'm sure they want it. Well,
Yeah.
I want everybody to come to the Reds, but I
I don't
don't
think
know.
Francisco Lindor to the Reds was ever even slightly realistic.
Yeah.
There's probably fans wanted it.
But there were like the rumblings out there of the Reds potentially looking at Francisco Lindor. That was the thing.
I don't remember.
I wouldn't bring it up if it
I'm
wasn't.
don't get me wrong. I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
a
probably.
thing,
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of other names in there. I like Francisco Lindor.
He's a good player.
Okay, cool. You guys are just setting me up to drown here. So
Well,
whatever.
I don't know
I
what you're talking
I never
about. Bring
heard
up
that.
things that I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm whatever. Okay, Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll step away for a few moments. When we come back, Jacob with the Bengals camp update.
Long ad break.
Might as well.
All right. Time for some ads. We're a little early. But hey, we're going to get it done anyways. Pawnee Water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio, uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other brands use. The result being a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. You can just ask Jimmy, where do you go to get Pawnee Water? Where do you go?
The Chatterbox studio.
No, Jimmy.
Well, to get my Pawnee water.
You can't go to the Chatterbox Studios,
Jimmy,
I suppose,
if
but-
they're not allowed here,
That's true.
so if they want their Pawnee water, they can't just come to the Chatterbox studio. They should go to PAHNNIwater.com.
Spelled it wrong.
Spelled it wrong. PAHHNI water.com is where you can buy this great tasting water.
It's a lot of consonants.
All right. Well, we tried.
You guys tried. It's all right. It's all right. I tried to lay it up, and I guess I didn't do a good job. Moving on to Encore, the Bengals report, which we're going to get into here very shortly, is proudly sponsored by Encore Technologies. At Encore Technologies, we deliver cutting-edge IT solutions for a data-driven world. From mobile computing and desktop support to advanced data center solutions, we help businesses enhance efficiency and
Productivity.
that's right, Jimbo. Visit encore.tech where your path to innovation begins. There, here, everywhere. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. There's Bengals Buccaneers preseason tickets going on right now for $14. We got some Royals at Reds series tickets selling at $10 a pop. Five Finger Death Punches today. If you want to go watch and listen to their music, it's at Riverbend. $36. It's not bad. The Doobie Brothers on the 18th, Riverbend. Green Day, 22nd. Great American Ballpark. So, yeah, go check out the Game Time app. They got lots of great deals, last-minute tickets. I know every time I've used them, it's been last minute, and they've always had the best prices. So I use them all the time. Legitimately, I use them to buy them all the time for Reds games. I
love the app. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I've used it for pretty much every concert I've been to this summer, which has been a lot. I think I've been to like 9 concerts. So shout out to Game Time, the greatest ticketing app of all time. We do have a super chat, by the way, Casey, to get to as well.
Super chat.
There was a super chat earlier on we did not read.
Yep, let me throw it up here. From Justin Edgel. Not to be crass, I think that's how you pronounce that, but what's the big deal about a vacant building burning down?
Well, I don't know if there's any big deal about it. It was just a massive fire.
Massive fire.
My take was more it was cool to see as long as no one got hurt.
As long as nobody got hurt.
As long as no one got hurt. Well, you didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry.
As long as no one got hurt. I was going to get there. I'm sorry. I'm not a delinquent.
Yeah, personally, I hope no one got hurt. I don't think.
Personally, no. We all hope no one got hurt.
I want to be the first to say.
I'd
like to be the first to say.
I would like to be the first.
Pretty sure I was the first
I'm
one
the first
to
to
say
say
it.
it.
I think. Well, Jimmy was the first to say that it might not look good.
Yeah.
Jimmy
our
was the
chat.
first to break the news that maybe the building on fire wasn't the best thing. So thanks
didn't-
to him for that.
You didn't think that
Jimmy
you knew I was
Fallon.
joking, right? You knew that.
No, I did not know you were joking.
Seriously?
No.
Anywho, if you haven't done so already, please share this show with a friend. Hit the like button. We really appreciate it. Helps us grow and reach more and more people like you to build this amazing community that we have here at Chatterbox. We appreciate you. I know I don't usually do this, but Chatterbox Reds is later on tonight. If you haven't been keeping up with that, they go live after every Reds game, for those of you that don't know that. We have memberships. $10 gets you in for most of our videos, and then $25 will get you a discount for our merch in the merch store. Check that out. Do we have any other housekeeping items, fellas?
Nope, I don't think so.
Tomorrow
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. In here and in the chat.
What?
I said have a great rest of your week.
Mouse
Add
Cop,
that to the housekeeping.
Oh,
Mouse
yeah.
Cop has a question for you guys.
Okay.
What's his question?
Why does Jimmy watch Chatterbox Reds, but not Elliot or Jacob?
Mouse
Elliot
got-
said it perfectly yesterday. I'm gonna let him take this one.
So yeah.
Remember what you said?
I remember what I said.
Okay.
So do you think, Mouse, do you think Stephen A. watches Around the Horn? That's how I'll answer that. And the answer is 100%. Or the Dan Le Batard show.
PTI.
When he was there, PTI. No, probably not. I tune into Chatterbox Reds when I can. I think I tuned in like 5 times when I was on vacation.
Also, how would you know if I'm watching Chatterbox Reds or not?
Yeah.
That's
we don't
true.
have to comment all the time.
Yeah,
Just because I don't have a burner in the chat doesn't mean I'm not there.
Yeah. Some of us have our real names attached to our accounts.
I personally, I'll admit something. I don't always watch it live. I watch it on my
I'm
way
not claiming
home,
to always
or
watch.
I'll listen to it on my way home.
Yeah.
I'm one of the Spotify listeners. Like I don't always catch it live, but I will listen to it.
Yeah, I like to go in there when I'm clipping stuff up and talk to them, I guess. Good game. Or
You just want to
remind
make sure
them.
Papa Kirby knows you're there.
Okay. Most of the time, it's just
Hey,
I
Nick,
just go in
how
there
are
and
ya?
I say, "Do you guys remember when the Tigers swept the Reds at Great American Ballpark?" And then everyone's like, "Shut up!"
Yeah. If my team would have swept the Reds a month ago, I would also be in the chat.
Same.
The last game was a month ago yesterday.
Crazy, you know that.
Well, because it was on my birthday. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair then. That's fair.
Sorry, Craig.
Coach, you ready?
Yep. Whenever you
All
guys
right,
are.
so let's head back to the
Break the
radio.
huddle.
All right, and we are back off the bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton. Talking a little Bengals, we'll send it over to Jacob with the Bengals camp update.
Yeah, Bengals camp underway yesterday. We touched on it earlier in the show, but there were some major fights 4 different fights broke out at camp yesterday. The headliner, if you will, Logan Wilson versus Ted Karras, a late hit on Ted that led to that one blowing up between basically the whole offense and the whole defense. Really the first series of chippy fights we've seen yet in Bengals camp. It's a crazy clip. They're really laying into each other. But the real headliner from the last couple days is the Bengals seemingly investing in some defensive line depth. Cam Sample tore his Achilles, placed on the IR, and McKinley Jackson's been on crutches with a brace on his knee. Apparently he's going to be fine before anything gets really serious with the season here, but still being precautious, the Bengals signed defensive end Andre Carter from Indiana and Joshua Pryor from Bowie State yesterday, and then signed another player today, a defensive tackle, a UFL standout earlier today. So just adding to that defensive line depth. But the main story out of yesterday was that, amongst all reports, that Joe Burrow and T. Higgins had the best connection of their career together at camp yesterday. Both players dominated the day. T. Higgins had multiple touchdowns posted on the team's social media. Great throws rolling out across his body from Burrow. Really, really exciting stuff going on at Bengals practice this week. The other thing is Geno Stone has slid in with the ones in the safety group. Everything with him is that he's picking up the defense well. Lou Anarumo said that him and Von Bell back there is a great change for the safety room. A lot of experience, a lot of leadership in that group as opposed to obviously the very, very young group last year. So nothing really too crazy new at Bengals training camp, but certainly the intensity rising as we get closer and closer to the season. First preseason game on Saturday at 7 p.m., and the Bengals announced the ruler of the jungle for that game. Oh, ruler of the jungle is going to be Ray Malaluga. So,
GOAT.
One of the legends in the middle of that defense from my time as a young Bengals fan. He was a great linebacker out of USC for this team. So excited to see him back in the jungle. I think that one Saturday should be a fun one. The Zach Taylor already announced that starters will play for the team. So with all these other teams announcing that starters are going to play an entire quarter, really hoping that that's the same for the Bengals, obviously, as long as no one gets hurt. But if I'm planning on going to the game, it'd be pretty cool to see Joe out there for a whole quarter.
100%.
Cincinnati Bengals again, preseason game coming up. You just said when on Saturday
Saturday
night?
night,
Time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Still no announcement as far as whether or not they will play their starters. As far as that's concerned, Jimmy, I saw you just.
They will play their starters.
They will play their.
Just not how long.
Oh,
we just
I'm
don't
sorry,
know how
my
long.
fault. My apologies. Yeah, they will play their starters. We just opened the show with, again, the Bills had put out that their starters, including Josh Allen, will play the entire first quarter. The Bears said the same thing with Caleb Williams. The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. So, again, starters will be played for the Bengals. Just how long that is the case as far as that's concerned. Jimmy, other NFL news, too, I saw you just put in the chat.
Yeah, other NFL news. Nick Foles just posted to Twitter his official retirement.
Oh.
Super Bowl champion. Caught one of the most legendary passes, I'd say, in recent Super Bowl history. He retired, another Super Bowl winning quarterback out of the league.
Did he sign with anyone? Did he retire an Eagle?
Hold on, it's a long tweet.
I was just wondering.
His greatest accomplishment wasn't winning the Super Bowl. It was single-handedly dismantling the career of Carson Wentz.
Yes.
That's true.
That was his greatest.
That's right.
That was his
He really
greatest
did.
achievement.
He really did.
He did. He signed a one-day contract. He'll retire as an Eagle. That's cool. I love when players do that.
I like that as well.
I think that's really cool. I know it's just semantics and whatever
When you
else,
sign,
but
do you think they ever, for that one-day contract, do you think they ever drive to the city or the team facility?
Usually you
really?
see a picture of him in the,
Really?
signing the actual, just normal contract.
I would say
signings.
one more practice.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think they should have to suit up.
I think they should
If
too.
you sign a one-day contract during camp, you got to go out there and practice.
I agree. I think
That'd be fun.
I think it'll be very, very fun.
It'd be fun. No, great career for Nick Foles though. He's kind of the one everyone points back to is when your quarterback goes down, you're like, maybe we still got a shot.
Yeah.
So thanks for giving everyone hope when starting quarterbacks get hurt.
Is that the very first year of the college football playoff? Ohio State won the national title with their third-string quarterback. That's one of the most. There's that storyline. I think is one of the coolest in all of sports. The other one, Nick Saban literally making a change at halftime of a national championship game to go to Tua. That was just absolutely insane. That was a great story. Clemson, not as great, but I mean, they were 4-0 to start a season, and they go from, I forgot the name of the quarterback, Kelly Bryant that they had, and they go over to Trevor Lawrence, who leads them to a national championship. we've seen great stories in college football, but is Nick Foles like the coolest, like not Cinderella? I don't even know what you would call that, but to me, I think the Nick Foles leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl was the coolest storyline in all of sports because it's not like he was the quarterback of an Eagles team that won the Super Bowl. He outdueled Tom Brady. He was, I mean, Super Bowl MVP, obviously. I think that's the coolest NFL story in recent history as far as like a feel-good story that doesn't involve your team, obviously, but that doesn't happen. A backup coming in and leading your team to a Super Bowl. That just doesn't happen, and we saw that happen with Nick Foles.
Yeah, I usually hate the Eagles, and I found myself rooting for him that whole run just because I thought it was so cool what Nick Foles was doing. But with his retirement, perfect time to remember the funniest Final Four in NFL history. It was Blake Bortles and the Jaguars against the GOAT Tom Brady, and then in the NFC, it was Case Keenum and the Vikings against Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So kind of crazy looking back at all the great playoff matchups for Tom Brady that a Final Four with 3 career backup quarterbacks, he wasn't able to get it done.
Did Nick Foles not start the year after that? Was it Carson Wentz again, and then he took over for Carson again?
I think Nick Foles started that season.
Didn't the Jaguars sign him right away though, or did he
No,
have another?
because
He came back
he
for
came
another
back to
year.
Philly.
He came back, but you remember he played in the postseason, and it was that dropped pass by Alshon Jeffrey
Oh, you're right.
against the Saints. I think it was the same thing that happened. I think Carson Wentz went down again, and Nick Foles took over for the team again, and that's I think when the Carson Wentz is done thing happened because Nick Foles, they were winning under Nick Foles.
That Super Bowl was so good. 41-33
Yeah, it was a good one.
with the Philly.
He got like a really big contract with the Jaguars. That's before they really blew everything up.
And
to set up to go get Trevor Lawrence and everything. But like he got a nice little contract there initially.
And don't forget, Nick Foles tied for the league record in passing touchdowns in a single game.
That's right.
He threw 7 of them in one game. That's still just an
He
unbelievable
threw 7
stat.
touchdowns in one game.
Yeah, versus the Raiders on November 2013.
Not bad.
You know he never started more than 10 games or 11 games in his career. 11 games was the most amount of games in a season he started.
Wow.
And he's a legend.
11, and that was, by the way, that was in 2015.
He's going to be like an Eagles Hall of Famer. He has a statue outside the stadium.
Does he?
He's a statue
Yeah,
outside the stadium.
that's
Philly,
incredible.
right? The
Yeah,
catch.
it's him and Doug Peterson calling the play,
yeah.
I see.
which is a very funny statue because at one point in time it was your backup quarterback and another team in the NFL's head coach. Because Nick Foles was backing up Jalen Hurts and Doug Peterson was in Jacksonville. So you had another NFL team's head coach and your backup quarterback
That
as
is
a
good.
statue outside your stadium.
That statue it's a good statue.
It's a very cool statue.
Yeah.
Earlier, you guys talked about the Bengals' little brawl at practice, and we talked about obviously the joint practice brawls too. And I know we mentioned this a little bit ago, but I keep forgetting to so I guess Metcalf is being really criticized because he swung a helmet at a teammate.
Oh my gosh. It was insane.
So
Wait, what?
that's the thing though.
DK.
But like, you expect these things more in the joint practices against other teams. You would like to think that the athletes, I know their intensity and their, they're obviously, in the moment. But like, you would think that you would take care of the guys on your team more so than you would guys on the other team in a joint practice. I think I like the intensity in the fights to a certain extent, but at the same time, when you're swinging helmets at teammates, I think that's more atrocious to me than when Aaron Donald is doing it and not because it was the Bengals, don't even need to get that. But no, Aaron Donald swinging his helmet at, someone on another team in a joint practice. I'm not saying I'm okay with that. I'm just saying that's kind of expected. Like Aaron Donald doesn't give
makes
a
more
rip.
sense.
He doesn't give a rip if you play this season or not.
Right.
But I think that's garbage when you swing a helmet at a teammate. And I don't think you should be, by the way, these guys are massive human beings. They shouldn't be swinging helmets at anybody. But the point is, it's more expected in a joint practice. I like the intensity and the scrums, if that's what you want to call them, and inter-squad stuff. But at the same time, man, that's great. We're talking about the intensity of the Bengals at practice yesterday, but Logan Wilson and Karras, those are 2 key pieces that are going to play a major role in your team's success this year. Metcalf, I don't even know who the hell he swung it at, but it doesn't matter. But having no regard for your own teammates, to me, there is a line. I don't think the Bengals crossed that line yesterday, but you were probably holding your breath a little bit watching them go to the ground. But swinging a helmet at a teammate, that's weird to me. No regard for your teammates, that's wild.
Did you see the video of it?
I did not. I didn't even
Oh,
know.
it's
I was
insane.
just saw
So he rips it off the guy's head and swings it back at him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And this is just my opinion. If I saw one of my players do that,
It was cornerback Trey Brown is who he swung it at.
I would want him off. I mean,
That's not it.
that's not it.
No, it's this video. That's App State.
Let me see that one.
It's behind.
It's behind.
I see.
Collision.
Okay, I see
It's
it.
one.
Either way, if you swing a helmet at a teammate, I think you should either A, be suspended from the team, or B, kicked off.
Oh, he should be suspended from the Seahawks practice. No question about it. I don't think he was even sent off the field that day, which is insane to me. But, yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine with pushing and shoving. I'm even fine with what the Bengals did yesterday where it got pretty heated. I don't know if punches were thrown or not, but it looked like it could have been. It was a pretty big scrub, and I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is swinging your helmet at, I guess, a scout team corner. Maybe not a scout team corner, but I'd never – I don't know that guy's name before, so I would assume he's lower on the depth chart, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, you're DK Metcalf. You should be able to beat that guy in running routes, and when you don't, you should want to get better yourself, not retaliate by swinging a helmet at him. So,
and if he upsets you, you're a multi-millionaire, and that guy's fighting for his career.
We saw last year DK Metcalf can get upset pretty easily.
Sure.
Cam Taylor-Britt did a pretty good job getting under his skin.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a line for everything, and when I sit up here and say I'm okay with fighting at camp, which I say a lot, this is not what I mean.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination, this is not okay. I would have suspended DK Metcalf if I was the coach of the Seahawks for sure.
Not calling for any suspensions for Bengals players, but that one was still pushing it a little.
Yeah, if a Bengals player swung a helmet, if Logan Wilson ripped Ted Karras' helmet off of his head and swung it at Alex Kappa, I would want Logan Wilson suspended. This is not a Seahawks take. Yeah.
So how do you feel about B.J. Hill ripping off Kappa's helmet?
Did he hit him with it?
No, but
Then that's good.
I'm not stirring the pot.
Because
I thought that was borderline, like getting to a point where, like Case, I'll let you continue, but it's like I thought that was borderline yesterday. I'm not calling for anyone to be suspended, but as a fan, I'd be like, hey guys, like usually you see the scrum, they're just pushing, they'll grab the face mask, pull you around, and then everyone breaks it up and they go to their respective sides. They just talk smack to one another. But that one was like, you thought it was done, and then it kept going, and then it kept going. It's like, hold on, guys, like let's just calm the hell down a little bit as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it got to a point where I thought, like, because it took Amarius Mims and a coach, like I don't know which coach it was, to get that helmet away from B.J. Hill.
With all due respect to the coach, I think Mims could have done it on his own.
Yeah, of course. I think he would have easily been able to take care of that. But my point is, it took clear-headed minds to calm someone down from making a mistake. So I don't know. That was something that I wasn't super fond of, but it didn't lead it into anything worse than what it was. So it is what it is. I just don't know. Like as soon as you start getting helmets into the equation, you're ripping other people's protective gear off. That's when I have a problem. That's when I'm like, okay.
No, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, as long as that doesn't make its way to national TV in like a primetime game in the regular season, that's good. That did happen once, right?
Oh,
This guy.
No.
We were doing so good.
Oh no!
We were doing so
the reason
good.
I'm pissed is because I'm usually pretty good at picking up when something's about to happen. I did not. And then he stopped, and I'm like, come on, dude. I'm like, oh, you mother. Like, well done. Hey,
Jimmy.
as we've said, Mason Rudolph, he's the only player that's allowed. Mason Rudolph.
You grade this on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
On a Rudolph by Rudolph basis.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm more of a dancer and prancer guy myself.
All right, Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. I have quite a few more things to dive into in the final radio side of the show. We'll step away for a few. More Off the Bench next. Hi, welcome back. Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Someone sent in a note also saying the Reds were never going to get Francisco Lindor, and I said I never said that the Reds were going to get Francisco Lindor. There was a time where people were getting really excited about the idea of the Reds getting Francisco Lindor, and there was a stretch. It was around the time that the Reds had got Wade Miley and Moustakas and ultimately Castellanos, but one of the big names that they were rumored to get was Francisco Lindor. And then you guys started making me really doubt myself. I
believe you.
I just don't doubt you. I just didn't know what you were talking about.
I went in and found it, according to MLB.com, yes, that a new entrant has emerged, and this is back in 2019. So not when you were 11 or whatever it is that you said.
Well, I was just making sure.
That a new entrant had emerged as a potential suitor for Francisco Lindor. The Reds have been engaged with the Indians in talks about the superstar shortstop, according to sources around the league, thrusting Cincinnati into a mix that reportedly includes the Dodgers and Padres, because that that's where the Reds are always
Oh,
swimming
yeah.
in the deep waters of with that. Where I was going with, and that was around the time that they had acquired Yasiel Puig. Obviously, they had Wade Miley, they had Mike Moustakas, they went after Castellanos. They had already had you go and you get Sonny Gray, and then ultimately Trevor Bauer. Like the Reds there was a point. I know we say they never go all in, but didn't that have a weird vibe of going all in? I mean, I know they didn't get Francisco Lindor, but like I'm reading that, I'm like, holy crap, they did do a lot of weird stuff. That I know that's why they blew that up pretty quickly. Yeah. But ultimately, the reason I brought that up is because that show that we had talked about, that podcast from a little bit ago, they were talking about Francisco Lindor and Elly De La Cruz. But I remember at the time getting really excited about, man, are the Reds really kicking the tires on going after Francisco Lindor with as dominant as Elly has been, since arriving in Cincinnati? They were doing a side-by-side analysis of the two, and basically, even so early and young as Elly De La Cruz is, statistically, a better shortstop right now, just from a full-on production standpoint, than Francisco Lindor, which is pretty wild because Lindor loved Francisco Lindor, but it's pretty wild that the Reds have a piece that I would have killed for years ago in Lindor, but now I'm like, I don't care about Lindor. Elly has just been that special.
Yeah, whatever I thought Elly could be, he has surpassed that expectation. And watching him night in, night out, I continue to say how lucky we are to get to experience this. Because, again, I would say there's about 25 other teams who don't get to experience something like this. It's honestly, Elly being the way he is, Elly being as good as he is, makes seasons like this hurt so much worse. It makes this season feel horrible. And by everybody's accounting, everybody knows it's a disappointing season, but you're just wasting a year of somebody that you can't afford to waste. And we're not going to do the whole contract thing again, but it's important to say that if we only have a limited amount of time with him, I'd like to make those years count. And so far this year, we did not make it count. Could they change it? Maybe, surely, maybe. They're not that far away. And it's when I'm negative about the Reds, it's like, oh, you're just a negative. No, they're relatively close. Their lineup is almost there. Almost there. We need to be healthy, and you need a couple more outfield pieces or a couple more right-handed bats to be able to hit left-handed pitching, which they've been woeful against. Starting pitching-wise, I don't want to say they're there, but they're about as close to a complete starting pitching rotation as you can be with the additions of guys that we just acquired in the draft. Rhett Lauder's somewhere near the future. So we have guys in the wings ready to go, starting pitching-wise. The bullpen's the bullpen. I mean, I just hope and pray that they're going to be continually be this good.
Yeah, Craig and Trace talked about the bullpen last night. Like, statistically been one of the more reliable bullpens that you can have in baseball. You want to see those numbers improve a bit, but still been one of the strengths of the team, no doubt.
When you're a small market team, I can't sit here and complain about bullpen play if they're doing their job. And what our bullpen does is their job. I know we get frustrated a little bit when it seems like Fernando Cruz has lost all hope and David Bell throws him back in there. And it seems like we're cherry picking which player should go in at what time. But the bullpen, for the most part, and that includes Alexis Diaz, they've done their job the past couple of seasons. So if you have a decent bullpen, you have a great starting rotation, you're just that lineup away. The offense wasn't what it was last year. I think it's honestly the complete reverse of what we had last year, where starting pitching was always a question mark, and the lineup I could always count on scoring runs. This year it seems like I can't count on the lineup to score runs, but I can always count on my starting pitchers to show up for the most part.
All right, Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Real quick, I know I sent this to you yesterday, Jacob.
Yep.
Quick, just touch on this thing with Jim Harbaugh in the NFL real quick. Thought it was crazy. Someone on my show yesterday had sent this in, like, could the NFL suspend Jim Harbaugh for what happened at Michigan? And I thought it was kind of a stupid question initially. I'm like, no, why? That's kind of silly. And then I got to thinking, I forgot all about, and we shouldn't have, the Ohio State fallout with Jim Tressel when he left Ohio State many, many moons ago, right? Like, for very similar reasons. It wasn't tattoo gate that ultimately got him fired. It was by not cooperating and lying to the NCAA that ultimately led to the more intense punishment handed down on Ohio State. Same thing here with Jim Harbaugh and Michigan with the 4-year show cause and all this stuff that was kind of handed down. And everyone's like, man, that's really aggressive for over a cheeseburger. And I'm like, I agree. I think that the cheeseburger thing is kind of silly. I thought that the tattoo thing was very, very silly. But ultimately, as much as I love Jim Tressel, and Jim Tressel is one of the best human beings you'll ever meet, Jim Tressel lied. And at that point, that's really what made it snowball even worse than what it probably would have been had he cooperated initially up front, right? And that's why Harbaugh is butting heads, or that's why he's getting the bigger punishment, if you will, which whatever punishment this is, he's never going to go back and coach college at the college level again, so it doesn't really matter. But that's what comes of this severe punishment that's handed down by the NCAA. It's not because of a cheeseburger. It's because you lied about the cheeseburger, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. So when asked about will the NFL punish Jim Harbaugh, I was like, why would they do that? Well, there's kind of a precedent that was set back in 2011, ironically enough, that involved their rival Ohio State, as we just talked about, Tattoo Gate with Jim Tressel, who lied to the NCAA, was ultimately moved on from Ohio State because of this, and then he goes to the NFL. Now, he was, and I forgot his exact role, I think it was like a replay consultant with the Indianapolis Colts back in 2011. And Roger Goodell came down and said that had the Colts not suspended Jim Tressel 6 games or whatever, that Roger Goodell would have come in and suspended Jim Tressel. Jim Tressel, and so Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, right away wanted to appeal this. Jim Tressel said no, he does not want to be a distraction. He does not want to be a talking point. He just wants to coach or be involved in the coaching capacity of somehow, some way. So what they did is they started his employment in week 7 of the 2011 season, basically serving a 6-week suspension. He had no involvement with the team for the first 6 weeks of the season for the Colts in 2011 and resumed in 2007. Roger Goodell said that counts as the suspension. He will not intervene. I forgot that Terrell Pryor was suspended that season as well when he was drafted. In fact, there was even a ban. He's not even allowed to appear at the shoe in any capacity. When he was with the Browns, I don't know if the Browns, I think it was the Bengals. I don't know who the Browns played in a preseason game at the shoe when Terrell Pryor was there. They had to get like some kind of waiver to allow Terrell Pryor with the Browns to appear at the shoe. It was very wild. So I say all of this because I think all that's kind of silly. I think the fact that Roger Goodell was trying to punish Jim Tressel was dumb. I thought the fact that Terrell Pryor was punished for his involvement for something in college was dumb. And as much as I can't stand Jim Harbaugh, I think the fact that if there is a chance that the NFL does come down and punish him, I think that's kind of silly too. However, I will also be somewhat side-eyed about it if he does not get punished because precedent was set back in 2011. It's the exact same situation. I don't know how Roger Goodell could handle the Tressel and Terrell Pryor thing, I know more than a decade ago, one way, and then just totally ignore this because it's Jim Harbaugh. It doesn't make any sense. I do know that Harbaugh and Goodell do have a rift that goes back to the last time he was in the NFL. So when Michigan fans said that there's no way the NFL will do anything to him, I kind of agree. I don't think they're going to do anything, but I don't think it's that unheard of that Roger Goodell and the NFL could hold him accountable for what happened in his exit out at Michigan.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm in the exact same boat. I wouldn't expect anything to happen to Harbaugh, but I think it's foolish to act like that door is completely closed. There's precedent for it. This has really only happened one time else when someone had massive, show cause allegations in college and then went to the league and the commissioner of the league threatened to suspend him. So you would expect them to have some sort of level of, consistency there, but I think it would take a pretty serious escalation of the punishments at Michigan for him to get suspended. It would take, I think vacated wins would come before that. I think a Sharon Moore suspension would come before that. I think a lot of things are on that ladder before you get to a suspension of Harbaugh while he's in the NFL. I thought the show cause was interesting because what does it do? The whole point of that order is that you can't leave the school you're currently at to avoid suspensions. Well, he's already gone. So I don't really know what that does. I guess it's just trying to act like you still have some power. The NCAA trying to flex their muscles, act like they still have a little bit of control.
If he ever did go back, he'd be suspended for a year.
Right.
So if he goes back to coaching college, Michigan brings him back 5-6 years from now for a 5-year contract, he'd be suspended for that first full season, I guess. But he's not.
He'll never come back to college. If he was ever planning on coming back to college, he would have stayed at Michigan. So
I think it would be silly too for the NFL, for Goodell to step in and do something.
I think it'd be horrible.
I think it would be really like I'm split because I'm like, why would you not do something now, but you did something that's my only question. That's the only thing I would want answered from Goodell is why are you going to ignore this but you handled this different. What is different about this? That would be the only question I would want answered. But I thought it was ridiculous with Tressel, and I think it would be ridiculous with Harbaugh. But I would also think it's ridiculous for them to just act like it's not even worth addressing at the same time, as far as that's concerned. So.
I think you can let it roll. Unless they especially right now, if they vacate wins in the championship, maybe we can have some conversation. But until they do something like that in the NCAA level, to even consider doing anything to Harbaugh, if you're Roger Goodell, silly nonsense to me.
Even though he's done it to another coach for the same reasons,
100%
in the past. Okay, no, that's fair.
I think you learn from your mistakes. Harbaugh makes the NFL better, and why would he punish a guy making the NFL, your sport, better? It doesn't make sense to me at all. Especially, and again, if they want to suspend wins, if they want to take serious action against the Michigan football program, we'll talk then. But as of right now, this seems like nothing.
It does sound like at a certain point, too, wins will be vacated for the Connor Stallion side of this, too. Like, that's the whole other side that we're waiting on. Another weird question, Jacob. If Ryan Day, his seat's hot right now because of if those wins are retracted, those wins never happen. Like, is his seat fine? Is his seat cool?
I think it's, 4,537 days since Michigan's beaten Ohio State?
Yeah.
It's a great stat.
Never happened. I mean, your seat might be hotter than Ryan Day's at this
my
point.
back is in a swamp right now. I mean, there's a whole ecosystem going on between my polo and my skin.
Not bad. Quick hits. Just a couple quick storylines to close out the show. How about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? Their new date rescheduled for Friday, November 15th at AT&T Stadium. And that'll be live on Netflix.
People need to be getting after Jake Paul a little bit harder for this. You're fighting a 65-year-old man who just had to back out of the other fight because he had ulcers. Like, come on.
From an elevator.
I'll tell you exactly how that fight goes. It goes the distance. Nobody gets knocked out. It goes by decision. And we have the kid winning.
You think? Oh, so Jake wins that?
Jake Paul will absolutely win this fight. Yeah.
Is he going to knock out Mike Tyson?
I don't.
No,
I highly doubt that's even allowed.
I
think he's right. I bet that's a part of the contract. You can't knock me out.
That was allegedly part of the contract for Logan Paul and Mayweather back in the day. Is that they couldn't knock each other out.
Really? This will be the world's worst fight.
Not confirmed.
That'll be the world's worst fight.
I think it's going to be one of the biggest combat sports viewing events of like the last 5 or 6 years.
Might be true.
So
since McGregor's peak at UFC.
I think that fight will stink.
Just because it's Netflix, though. So many people are going to watch it because you don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
And if you see Mike Tyson, our parents are scrolling through Netflix and they see Mike Tyson's name, they're probably going to click on it.
Kevin and I talk about this on our show all the time. He hates these things. He hates these. And I say that they're good for the sport. I know it sounds wild. I think that they're good for the sport because non-boxing fans are tuning into a boxing match. If you're a fan of boxing, I mean, people are talking boxing. People are tuning in to watch boxing. It stinks that the guys that actually work very, very hard, and the thing that pisses people off, Jake Paul does work really hard at this, but he's very strategic with who he books fights with. Also very smart on his side, the business side of it. I get that. The sport of boxing is very, very interesting. It is nowhere close to having the appeal that it did back in the 90s, especially. Obviously, Mike Tyson played a huge role in that, but I mean, I don't think that these things are bad for the sport, or are they? Do you think this is bad for the sport? You're a big, combat guy.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's bad for the sport because I think the people that care about the sport deeply recognize that it's not even boxing. So it's not the same sport, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So it's more people from the outside looking in, I think, that are complaining about it, and I think it's the only reason people watch boxing anymore. I mean, UFC's growing at an alarming rate, and boxing, you get 1-2 fights a year that have a national pull, and that's it.
Maybe,
if that.
maybe,
yeah, if that. So, yeah, I think it's fine for boxing. I don't necessarily care that much one way or the other. I understand why people be mad about it. I mean, if you're a diehard boxing fan, you've been watching fights for the last 30 years, and you have Jake Paul, as the biggest boxer in the world right now, that would get under my skin too. So
it's by the way, boxing is dying completely. You talk about something that'll be dead in 10 years. It'll be boxing.
This goes back to what we talked about a couple weeks ago with rigging, sports scandals and stuff. It's all because they used to rig them, and no one believes it anymore.
Yep, and especially now, you can't tell me that it's not going to be scripted. You couldn't pay me to believe that this Mike Tyson, as a 70-year-old man, versus Jake Paul, isn't going to have some sort of clause in there where they determine the winner or yada, 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 how many rounds it goes, just for the show, for Netflix and all the viewers. It just doesn't. It's something that unfortunately has passed us by, or we've passed it by. Excuse me, and nobody's gonna care. So I don't want to say it's bad for boxing because it's quite literally the only thing that's keeping boxing relevant. The word boxing is only irrelevant in sports today because of something like this. But at the same time, if I was a fan of boxing, like Jacob just said, I'd be enraged that this is the big event.
Tyson Fury and Wilder, when that little series was going on, that's the last time I was super jacked about anything. I mean, me and a bunch of friends, we'd get together. I mean, we were literally jacked about this fight. We couldn't wait.
Those were great.
Just the energy in the arena for those, and like, you know, you had the celebrities that were in attendance. I mean, the crowd was fantastic. The fight was great. That's the last time I ever got amped up for a boxing match, and that was like, I think, pre-COVID. I think it was actually 2020.
The first one, they
first
fought
one-
again a couple years ago.
Yeah, like the first, but I mean, like the one I guess the one I'm talking about initially, because that's the one that Fury won.
Yeah,
where he was singing afterwards, and then they kept pushing back the rematch after for a little bit. That would have been the third one.
He cheated.
Yeah. Oh, on the
Fury. His hands were too far down in his glove. It's a big scandal.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that shows you I didn't follow
I
anything.
had a lot of money on Deontay Wilder, man.
You're a little salty.
He's from Tuscaloosa. I've met him a couple times at football games. So I always bet on Deontay
Nice
Wilder
flex,
because
dude.
that's my guy.
How'd you meet him?
He was on the sideline for the Texas game. So
That's cool.
I was down there.
What was the biggest celebrity that was walking? That you just casually just
Physically,
crossed
the
paths with?
biggest, Deontay Wilder.
Well, I mean, just mean like biggest name.
I've met Pat a couple times. McAfee, which is really cool.
Yeah.
He's probably the biggest. He walks around with that whole crew, so everyone from the show. So he just moves as an absolute unit throughout the stadium. Yeah, you can't really miss him. And then all the sideline guys, Fowler, Herb Street.
Very cool.
Cool guys.
Very
By the
cool.
way, we do have a super chat before we end. Ned Flanders, $9.99, $10 super chat. What says the brain trust? What says about the brain trust? The fact that the Reds let 3 pitchers go who are among the best on their teams: Ben Lively, Luke Weaver, and Jeff Hoffman. Do we have more than hitting coach problems?
I've never acted like I'm the biggest Derek Johnson fan in the world. So.
Neither have I. So
Now, but like at the time, that was a big deal when the Reds got him.
It was a huge deal. But as we've come to learn with a lot of different Brewers coaches leaving, maybe it's just the Brewers.
Yep.
And not the coaches.
No, fair. I just was
because I was very excited when we got him, for sure. He'd done a great job with that Brewers staff.
But also, what did you want the Reds to do? I mean, Jeff Hoffman, maybe you could have made an argument. Luke Weaver had a 7 ERA.
He was bad.
He had a 7 ERA. You want Luke Weaver back? And I get it. He was supposed to be a reliever. The Reds forced him to start. Same with Luis Sessa. The Reds ruined Luis Sessa's career by forcing that guy to start. So, yeah, I think maybe there's an issue there, but that all falls in the front office that didn't give the Reds a roster that was suitable for MLB play. They gave him 100 different relievers and said, go start games. Ben Lively having a great season, though. Good for Ben Lively. Good to see that.
If you're sour on Derek Johnson, just keep rooting for that David Bell firing because
That's
those
right.
two are tied at the hip.
That's right.
If one stays, they'll both stay. If Bell goes, I'd assume Derek Johnson goes as well.
They'll clean house.
more quick hits. I don't know how much. Where are we at?
We're
time-wise?
out.
Even that last segment that was short.
This segment's gone on for 18 minutes or so.
Oh,
19
18
minutes.
minutes of bliss. There you go. All right, that wraps it up for us. Tomorrow's show opens up with Mr. Jimmy.
And hopefully
Yes.
air conditioning.
And
Yes, hopefully air conditioning.
Yeah, it might just be Jimmy in here. Jimmy and Casey tomorrow.
That's right now. Jimmy gets this room way too hot.
Yeah, it's
Hey-o.
so Jimmy opens up the show tomorrow. It's his last day before he heads back to college. We appreciate Jimmy, and we can't wait for him to open up the show tomorrow. So thank you, everyone. Until tomorrow, on the YouTube side at least, or on the radio side, I'm sorry. This has been Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. You
Sweat
guys
is-
like the heat. So the heat in here is
The sweat is not even bothering me as much as the silence. It is
silence
so
is bothering me.
quiet.
Yeah, it's
So
very
quiet.
I don't know if it's gonna pop up on the recording. I don't know if our microphones pick up on it or not. But if it does, it is night and day difference.
It's bizarre.
There's usually just a faint, you can hear the wind.
Yeah.
It's very awkward.
Let's do something to end the show. I was going to do this during the radio side if we didn't have enough stuff till the end. I was going to do this. I saw this trend on TikTok, and I actually like it whenever I scroll by it. Now, granted, I will say most of these, it's usually just a bunch of horny people ranking the hottest celebrities. But we're going to do a blind ranking.
I love
We're going to do a blind ranking
Okay.
of MLB players.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you an MLB player without knowing who else is on the list, and you're going to rank them in 1 through 10, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst, of where you have them.
All right.
Of like hotness? Like what are we doing?
No, not
What are you
hotness.
setting
No,
us
no,
up
no,
for?
how they
What
play
are you
baseball.
setting us up for
How
here?
they play
okay.
baseball.
How they play
Phew.
based on
Well,
their
you
baseball,
said horny earlier, so I didn't know where you were
based
going
on their
with this.
baseball ability.
Jesus, criminy.
But for the record, it's usually just horny people on
It
TikTok.
is. That's how they use it. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
The first player on this list, and we'll do a group vote here to
And
decide.
we're getting 10 of them?
We're gonna do 10 of them.
10.
We'll start with Yordan Alvarez.
6.
So hold on, you're throwing out names, and we are what?
We're putting them 1 through 10. We don't know who's coming next.
You don't know who's gonna come next.
So if
Okay.
he gave us like Gunner, and I put him 1, well, you probably would. He's probably just the best player. It's
Yeah,
a bad
correct.
example. But like if he gave us Elliott and we put him 1,
So
and
you
he
have
gives
the
us-
list already. We're just guessing where these guys
Correct.
are.
Correct.
Okay, and you said 6.
I'm going 6 for Jordan.
Basically, you don't want a bad player
In the top, like, 5.
In the top 5.
All right, I'll go like the prices. I'll go 7, Bob.
I was gonna say 5.
So 6. Oh.
You're asking me.
So we'll go 6.
5, 7, 5.
6.
Yeah. Or
So,
5, 7, 6.
so we'll go 6. I was probably going to agree with Jacob. So that's 6. Let me put it in there. I got to keep track here. All right, next player, Corey Seager.
He's worse than Jordan. I'll go 8.
I'll go 7.
We can't pick the same number, right?
You can.
Well,
I mean, that defeats the purpose.
Oh wait, you can't. You mean the same number as Jordan? No, you can't.
he
do
took
that.
that spot.
Well, he said 8, so if like 8 was what I was going to say.
No,
Say
you can
8.
So
No,
then
you can say
8, yeah.
This is just deciding like
Okay.
where he's going to go. Jimmy, you agree with that?
Yes.
All right, so Corey Seager at 8. Next player, Corbin Carroll.
10.
The smile says 10.
I mean, I'm going 10. Unless
10.
you give us like India. I'd assume these were all going to be good players.
10. Okay. Marcell Ozuna.
3.
3.
7. Is
Oh,
it
wow.
just this year?
Wow.
Huh?
Just this year?
No, it's just like for the general, his career, future, whatever. Yada, yada, yada.
5.
Okay. I'm going to go 7. So I'm going to put him, Marcell Ozuna, at, you said what? 3?
I said 3. Probably going to
5,
backfire.
so it's 7, then it would be at 6, but we round down to 7.
Okay.
So we have what? We have
You have 6. You have Jordan at 6,
Yep.
Marcell at 7, Corey Seager at 8, Corbin Carroll at 9. Moving on. Austin Riley.
10.
I mean, we got to go 10. Well, we said Carroll 10, no?
Carroll's 10, so he has to be 9.
So, Riley
9.
9. That's not bad. I'm fine with that.
We're fine with this.
I'm fine with that
Just
so
wait
far.
until the last player is like
Jonathan India.
Yeah.
We're fine with this. We're fine with this. Ellie De La Cruz.
4.
4.
I was going to say 3.
I already used my 3. But
That's not part of the
3.
game.
3.
3?
Yeah.
So we'll go 4.
We can go. I'm fine with 3.
You're fine with 3?
I'm fine
All
with
right.
3.
Ellie's
I
at
can
3.
be malleable.
Vladimir Guerrero.
Oh, we're out of space, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah. So
5.
yeah.
Gunnar Henderson.
1.
1.
It's just whether or not you say Shohei,
2.
and then just bite the bullet for whoever it is.
Ronald Acuna.
Where did we put Gunner?
Gunnar is at 1.
Okay, Acuna. What do we have left? 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
I'll go Acuna at 2.
2.
Oh, no.
Is it
Oh, by the
Shohei?
way,
Shohei.
by the way,
that's fine.
Ozuna-
Shohei goes to 4.
That's
when
fine.
he
Well,
said-
he doesn't play the field.
Gunnar, Acuna, Ellie, Shohei's at 4. Vladimir, Jordan, Marcel, Corey Seager, Austin Riley, Corbin Carroll.
I don't feel like that's that bad.
Not that bad.
Shohei doesn't play the field. He only plays half the game.
When you said Ozuna earlier, I said 3 because I was thinking Acuna, so that's my bad.
He's
on
also
that.
Shohei's like, yeah, he's not getting his full value. He's hurt.
Right.
He's only 50% of the man he could potentially
Yeah,
be.
he's only going to go, what, 40,
He's a
40 this
bum.
year? He's not even going to steal 70 bases.
All right.
Well, that was a game.
Since he
That
gets
was a game.
Lots
Lots of different drugs being consumed by the CBox crew. You say it like it's a illegal thing.
Well, it depends on what they are.
Depends on what they are. And where you got him.
And where you got him.
And what the doctor prescribed.
If you're behind a Walmart,
Yeah, I was going to say.
give me a call.
I know a guy.
Do you want to try doing pitchers or no?
Yes.
Let's do pitchers.
Okay.
Screwball 1.
You want to try doing pitchers? Okay. So here we
Pitchers
go.
it is.
Same game. Again, I think you're getting a little confused. You can rank the player whatever you want. That's just to decide where we collectively
As
put
a
him.
whole, okay.
So you can say the same number 5 times in a row. It's just an average thing. All right, first name on this list. Sean Manaea.
10.
Yeah.
10.
We'll rock 10.
I was gonna say 7, but that's all right. I'm making the list though. Okay, so Sean
You're cheating.
Manaea. Okay, well then I won't play. Next name. Dylan Cease.
5.
I was gonna say
3.
4.
3. Okay.
So we go
So
4.
4.
Okay. So Dylan Cease at 4.
Okay.
Paul Skeens.
2.
Yeah, I like the 1.
I'm going
2.
Uno.
There's no way.
Are you saying 1?
I'm
2.
going Uno.
Are you saying 1?
I'm going to go 1.
He's the best
He's
pitcher
one.
in baseball.
He's 1.
There's not a single name I'd put above him.
It's for your helmet comment, jerk.
Hunter Greene.
4.
Yeah, 4 is fine.
Wait, we have Cease.
We already have 4.
And we have Cease at 4?
Yep.
3.
3 then. 3.
Okay. Chris Sale.
5.
I'll go 5.
Gotta be 5.
That was a unanimous 5.
I'm banking on Screwball being on this list.
So
for
we have
Sale.
1, 3, 4, and 5, or 1, 4, and 5.
You have 1, 3, 4, 5, 10.
Okay.
I'm
We know who
holding
2
2
is.
for Screwball because
Yeah.
I think he's going to give it for Jimmy.
Zach Wheeler.
The next, the highest slot we have available, it's not 2.
So that would be
6.
6.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Next up, we have Corbin Burns.
Oh.
2. AL Cy Young.
2.
Put him 2. He's the AL Cy Young.
No, 7.
He's the AL
It's a
Cy
great
Young.
list.
So what did you say?
7.
2.
I gotta go with him. I'm gonna go 7.
Oh.
This list is already messed up because we put Skeens at 1.
I
He's his best pitcher in baseball.
Skeens
Burns
is
goes
1.
to 7.
Hunter Greene might be a tad high.
Yeah, Hunter Greene.
Hunter Greene might be the one we put a tad high, and that's no disrespect to Hunter Greene.
No.
That's just how good this pitching is.
You ready?
Yep.
Garrett Crochet.
We have 8 open. 9. What do we have open?
9's open. 8's open.
I'll go 9.
Or 2.
I'll go 9.
I'll go 9.
I guess when that Garrett Crochet is 9.
9.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have Ranger Suarez.
8.
Yeah, sure.
That's fair.
And
He's
last
gonna
but
say
not
some.
least,
He's gonna say like Andrew Abbott.
Jack Flair.
Yeah.
I'll give it to him. Skewball.
All right,
1.
2.
All right, our list is Paul Skeens is number 1. Skewball is number 2. Hunter Greene is number 3. Cease is 4. Chris Sale is 5.
That's a pretty good 5.
Wheeler is 6.
That's where you lose me.
Burns is 7.
Oh boy.
I would. Greene.
Suarez
Yeah.
is 8. Crochet is 9. Manaea is 10.
We didn't know who else we were getting. Though.
Right. That's the issue.
That's the fun of the game. You don't know who you're gonna
You know,
get.
Burns deserves to be up there.
I would put Suarez 9.
Let's do a
or 10.
quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks? Do you want to?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We'll do one more. Hold on.
This is phenomenal radio.
Well, it's not radio.
I know.
And it would have been great radio.
NFL quarterbacks.
Might have to do this again tomorrow.
Stats. Hold on. Let me do this. Here we go. Oh, this will be fun, actually. Hold on.
You say Deshaun, I'm walking out.
Oh, you know what I'm going to say.
He would never be in the conversation for top 10 anyway, so that would be weird on your part.
No, it would be great on my part. Because you don't know what the other 9 are going to be. They
Well,
could
yeah,
all be
it
bad.
could just be
These
like
aren't the best top 10.
32 to 22.
These are just the names. You're ranking the names I say. You're not ranking the best of the best. You know
Fair
what I'm
enough.
saying? Hold on. Hold on. Let me get rid of my sheet. I have to fix my sheet. What's everybody's favorite color?
I'm a red guy.
Blue.
I like green.
I like blue.
Orange.
Not salmon?
No, not the same.
All right, first name. First name on the list. Dak Prescott.
6.
I was going to say 8.
I'm going to go 8, yeah. I like
I'll
8.
go.
Right now the average is
Very underrated, I
Yes.
get that.
probably.
I'll go 7.
All right, so 7's our number. Dak Prescott, 7. Next up, Geno Smith.
10.
10.
11.
10.
Just outside the top 10.
Yeah. Fringe top 10.
CJ Stroud.
3.
I was gonna say 6.
I'll say 5.
I think better than Dak.
I'll go with 3. I like 3.
I'll go 6.
So 4 is our average. CJ Stroud. Aaron Rodgers.
I'll go 6.
7.
Already got 7 filled.
6.
6.
6. Unanimous.
So we have what again? Just keep updating us.
1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9 are all open.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9.
Next quarterback. Jordan Love.
9.
5.
5.
I'm gonna go 9.
9. I'm not putting a guy top 5.
I'm gonna go 9.
Jordan Love.
I think he's
Again,
better.
I'm gonna probably eat crow with him this year.
Yeah,
but
I
you're
think he's
very
better than
high
everyone
on
we've
him.
named other
You
than
like
CJ.
him a lot.
All right. Next name. Jared Goff.
1.
8.
I mean, below Love.
What's
So
open?
whatever you
What's
put
open?
for that.
Wasted my 9.
Well, you
didn't
can't
I?
go lower than Love because Geno's below Love.
Oh, Jesus.
What's-
We're putting Goff ahead of Love?
8 is
Yeah.
open? 8.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's an issue.
That's
Yeah.
the fun of the game. Next name. Tua.
So he's got to be
Got to be
5.
ahead of Goff.
Got to be
5.
ahead of Goff and below CJ.
Yeah.
I think Goff 8, Love 9 is fair.
Love below Jared Goff is insane.
He has 1 year as a starter,
And he's exponentially better at everything football related.
but off 1 year as a starter.
Correct.
So
Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback in the league.
This is unfortunate. Brock Purdy.
11.
Unfortunately,
gotta
we only
be
have 1,
3.
2, 3 and open.
We'll go 3.
3, I
Three.
guess.
Fudge.
He's gonna name like some bum backup for 1.
No, I'm being fair. Trevor Lawrence. 2.
2. Jesus.
2.
Give us a decent 1.
Joe Burrow.
Let's go.
So our quarterback
11.
ranking of those lists,
go.
I think that's the worst one we've done.
Hey, that's pretty bad.
Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Purdy, CJ Stroud, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Geno.
That's pretty bad.
We'll do it based off of their good looks.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy G's about to get cut, and he'd be number 1.
Porn star Jimmy.
That's right. You don't know which Jimmy.
That list was butchered. We did a bad job on that list.
I
That's all
don't
right.
think I like those games.
Oh, I love those games.
I love them.
I don't think I like them.
I love them.
Gets the people going. Oh, hi.
It's real hot.
Yeah,
He has a long sleeve shirt.
I love those games. Backup quarterback rankings?
No.
Okay.
I don't think anyone wants to hear us blind rank anything else.
No. I think we're all right.
Do you guys like this? The chat?
I think they would like it, like Alex said, if there was some graphics behind it, but
But Casey screwed it up. No graphics.
No,
that's all me.
I
got-
got type with my hands dripping, wet. dripping.
I got
wet.
one. I got one for the baseball ones, but it didn't look good. Like for a lower third, it didn't look good.
Well, that's baseball.
That's sports, baby.
Sports.
You
But-
what?
No, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Well, I was going to say, not to change the subject, I watched the end of that game last night.
No, I think you are changing the subject.
Well, yeah, I am.
You just said you didn't mean to.
I was watching the end of the game last night, and when there was bases loaded, I think there was 2 outs at that point. Bases loaded, 2 outs, down by, what was it, 2? I bet on the Reds,
Did you? You fool.
and I lost.
You dirty boy.
I thought there was a chance.
It was also criminal that we gave you Santander home run yesterday, and you just parlayed it and lost.
I didn't even take it.
You didn't?
No.
Why?
You said you liked it. I did not.
I parlayed it with Judge.
He hit 2 Tony Taters.
Yeah, I had
have Riley? You had
Cowser and Riley.
I see.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's it.
Jimmy's on a tear though.
But that's our-
Jimmy's back to the sheet.
Good for you, Jim.
He's
Back to
dialed
the
in.
sheet.
He's dialed in.
Well, that's our show.
All right, folks.
God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow for Jimmy's.
Today was my penultimate show, right?
This is your penultimate.
My penultimate.
Jimmy
show
penultimate.
today.
We're not as good as Breaking Bad.
Big breaking bad.
This is our Ozymandias.
You know, I hope not. I hope not.
I don't know what that means,
but that's it. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a pleasant Thursday. Try to not start any fires.
That's good.
I'm going to the bar.